That was rather forceful.
Welcome, everyone, to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Woburn City Council of August 18, 2026. Before the meeting begins, please silence your cell phones and note that this meeting is being recorded. For those able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll.
Councilor Mara.
Present.
Councilor Demers.
Present.
Councilor Dillon.
Present.
Councilor DeMambro.
Present.
Councilor Ferrulo.
Present.
Councilor Mercer Bruin.
Present.
Councilor Papalato.
Present.
Councilor Viola.
Present.
President Toro.
Present. Councilor Dillon.
Thank you, President Toyle. Just a moment of personal privilege. Our colleague, Dickie Gately, who was so important to us all in these chambers, has recently fell ill, and I would just like him to know from all of us here at City Council and throughout the whole community how much he means to us, and we wish him a very speedy recovery. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here, here.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion that we dispense with the reading of the previous meeting's journal and approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
First item on the agenda is an order transferring $19,000 from Dave & Buster's mitigation account to the paving account.
Make a motion the matter be referred to the Committee on Finance.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next item is the order transferring $1,300 from traffic controls and equipment to Salem Street lights.
Same action.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next item on the agenda is an order amending Woburn Municipal Code 2-180 base salary for the benefits coordinator.
Make a motion the matter be referred to the Committee on Ordinance, Charter, and Rules.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion to suspend the rules to take the two loan orders from committee reports.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
The first item is the loan order in the amount of $15 million for sewer improvements throughout the city. A committee report received back for action. Further, a communication was received from Alex Rizicki, the city engineer, on August 18, 2026.
Mr. President, I'll just make a motion to suspend the rules to allow the mayor to speak if any questions come up.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
I'll make a motion, we also received the communication from Engineer Rizicki and make it part of the permanent record.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Mayor Concanon?
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. As you know, this matter was in committee last week. We had some discussions about, the needs and what we would basically be doing with this money, and I know there were some questions from the council. I trust that the information provided by City Engineer Ozicki helped to answer those questions, but if there are any additional questions, he is here tonight, and we're ready to answer them.
Thank you, Mayor Concanon. From the chair, I just want to thank you for this information. I know during committee, we asked for the information, and I think everyone here knows that the needs of the city outweigh what we're asking for, and that this is an ongoing request to try to address some of the infrastructure underground. Having some of the details as to where it's going to be spent, as long as everything goes as planned, which we know it won't, is always great. I know I do, and I'm sure everyone here on the council has the utmost faith in our city engineer, our DPW superintendent, and the mayor's office to spend the money appropriately and wisely to best suit the city. So thank you for this information. I think it's great.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilor Mercer Bruin.
Thank you, and thank you, Mayor, for sending this down. As Councilor Toro said, obviously, this is not a matter of trust. This is just, you sat on the council with me, it's literally our job to ask for the details. So I appreciate the fact that they're here tonight and we can move forward.
Sure, you're
So,
welcome.
yeah, thank you.
Anyone else from the council? No? Do we have a motion?
Make a motion that the order be adopted by roll call.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
You need,
Thank you.
so you're going to have to do this by roll call.
Roll call.
Oh, all right, by roll call.
Councilor Mara.
Aye.
Councilor Demers.
Aye.
Counsel Dillon.
Aye.
Counsel DeMambro.
Aye.
Counsel Ferrullo.
Aye.
Counsel Mercer Bruin.
Aye.
Counsel Papalato.
Aye.
Counsel Viola.
Aye.
President Toro.
Aye.
Thank you, Mayor.
Motion carries.
Next item on the agenda is a loan order in the amount of $10 million for water main improvements throughout the city. A committee report received back for action. The same communication received from Alex Rozicki, the city engineer, is also on this one.
Make a motion that communication be received, made part of the permanent record.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Make a motion that the order be adopted by roll call.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Roll call. Counsel Mara.
Aye.
Counsel Demers.
Aye.
Counsel Dillon.
Aye.
Counsel DeMambro.
Aye.
Counsel Ferrullo.
Aye.
Counsel Mercer Bruin.
Aye.
Counsel Papalato.
Aye.
Counsel Viola.
Aye.
President Toro.
Aye. Motion passes.
Make a motion to return to the regular order of business.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next item on the agenda is under new petitions, the petition by New Path for a special event permit for a walking event at 147 New Boston Street and area streets.
Make a motion the special event permit be granted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
On the petition by Wild Fox Restaurant Group LLC, DBA The Fox Den for a special event permit for Porch Fest at the Pocket Park.
Same action.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Petition by People Fit LLC for a special event permit for a walking event with a request for a waiver of umbrella liability insurance.
Make a motion the matter be referred to the Committee on Public Safety and
Second.
License.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Petition by Woburn Host Lions Club for a special event permit for a road race with request for a waiver of umbrella liability insurance.
Same action.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Petition by Woburn Friends of Hospice V&A Care for a special event permit for a road race with a request for waiver of umbrella liability insurance.
Same action.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
On the petition by NSTAR for grant of location in Sheila Avenue, Murray Road, and Meadow Lane.
Make a motion the matter be referred to public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Petition by NSTAR Electric Company for grant of location in Presidential Way for services to 8A Presidential Way.
Motion that the matter be referred to the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next item on the agenda is a petition by Rumors Palette World LLC for a special permit at 30 Tourist Drive.
Make a motion the matter be referred to a public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to refer to a public hearing, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next item on the agenda is a petition by 25 Everett Street Realty Trust request for minor modification to a special permit dated December 26, 2024 to revise the site plan of record in condition 1 from November 8, 2024 to November 5, 2024. A communication dated August 6, 2026 was received from Jim Giuliano, the attorney of record.
Make a motion that the communication be received, made part of the permanent record.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Carries.
Make a motion to suspend rules to allow the petitioner or their representation to speak.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Attorney Giuliano,
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the council. Again, for the record, Attorney James Giuliano, Giuliano Law Group, 607 Main Street here in Woburn, on behalf of the petitioner. As the Madam Clerk said, 25 Everett Street Realty Trust had a special permit that was passed in December of 2024. For whatever reason, Condition 1 had the site plan of record being November 8th, when in fact the site plan of record was actually November 5th. I'm guessing that the site plan was submitted on November 8th, dated to November 5th. So we're looking for a minor modification to change Condition 1, which would then read site plan of record dated November 5th, 2024.
Thank you. Any questions from the council? No?
Make a motion to return to the regular order.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Make a motion the minor modification be granted.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Carries.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda under public hearings is NHC Realty Inc. Cummings Foundation for a special permit at 21 Warren Ave. A communication dated August 4th, 2026 was received from Dennis Clark, the chairman and CEO of Cummings Property. Further, that is not on the extended agenda. A communication dated today, August 18th, 2026 was also received from Dennis Clark, the chairman and CEO of Cummings Property. And those are the communications.
Make a motion that communications be received, made part of the permanent record.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
I believe the petitioner is here.
Come on up. Good evening, Eric. Good evening.
Good evening. Eric Anderson, Cummings Properties. I'm a newbie at this, so I'm not quite sure what you'd like to hear from me, but we're essentially here to request that the council continue the public hearing to its September 15th meeting. We've received a lot of feedback, as some of you, a number of you know, on our project for Warren Ave, and we've taken a lot of that feedback and modified it. Got to a point where we thought we needed to just withdraw it altogether, that it just not enough interest from the community. So, well, we thought we had killed it. Upon some further reflection over the past week or so, we've realized there is actually one other. We had some other ideas as to how we could do it. So we've significantly scaled back the project. We're going back and forth on what the number of units are, but it's essentially half of what we had been proposing in our last proposal of 20 units. We're down around 10. I think it'll ultimately be around 9. And it will be a significantly smaller structure that will be built above an existing single-story structure on the property. So we're eliminating most of what we received as objections to the project, and I think it's something that that will serve the community. There is a need for this type of housing, so we're confident in our ability to fill these units. And we think it will help the neighborhood and the structure. It'll be, again, significantly smaller. So obviously, we're still working through the details of what this project is going to be exactly. So we're looking for this, looking to continue the hearing so that we have an opportunity to share with the appropriate city heads or department heads within the city and the other councilors what exactly this project is going to be, as well as with the neighbors and other stakeholders here in the city.
Councilor Mara.
Thank you, President Toro. Eric, thank you so much for all your help with this, and thank you for sharing the preliminary plans. As we did see, the original proposal was for the left side of the building. Tentatively, the new is to the right side of the building, so, looking forward to see the final plans and what you guys come up with on your end. But if I may, due to the fact that this was initially proposed to withdraw, if this is continued, I plan to make a motion to notify all abutters of the next hearing date.
Sure. Terrific.
Make a motion to open the public hearing?
Hold, 1 second. We have some
withdraw.
other questions from council. Council Papalato?
Thank you. I'm thrilled at the decision that you made here. I think that the neighbors were, not thrilled with the whole arrangement over there. So thank you for doing that. But should this be put in as a separate, it's substantially different, like you said, than what was there. So should it happen to be, isn't it a whole new filing? And I don't know who I'm asking this question to, but it seems like it's substantially different enough that maybe it would require that. But
There was a discussion, a determination that because it's on the same property, it's a smaller proposal, that it could go under the same filing.
okay. All right, I'm good, thank you.
Councilor Mercer Bruin?
I just, through the chair, I just want to, I had an opportunity to speak to Dennis Clark earlier this evening and really appreciate, this is not my ward, and obviously I'll support whatever the councilor wants to do, but this is a great step in a collaborative effort to work with the neighborhood. So I just wanted to thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Councilor Dillon?
Yeah, just a procedural question. So at some point as we proceed, would be appropriate to someone to make a motion to allow them to withdraw their withdrawal?
I think the letter states that,
Okay,
so you could make a motion, depending on how the council believes they should vote. You could make a motion to accept that second letter as the withdrawal.
thank you.
The withdrawal of the request to
The
withdraw.
rescinding of the request to withdraw.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pulls into our
Let's
SAT
not
words
muddy the waters
tonight.
any more than it has to be.
I just wanted to see where we were going. Thank you.
No problem.
Make a motion that we accept that letter for the rescinding of the request to withdraw.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Council Viola, you had a
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank Cummings for listening to the neighbors, hearing their concerns, trying to work with them to try and pretty much make the project in half. there is a need for this type of housing. So thank you for working with the neighbors and the city. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Motion
Make
to
a motion to open the
hearing?
public hearing, please.
Second.
A motion and a second to open the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on this matter? Please step forward. Eric, you can step off to the side real quick. Thank you. Why you
Dana Farrell, 2 Dow's Lane. I would just like to know that since this is a new process, a new kind of a plan, that will the neighbors be informed of when the next procedures will take place, so we can be aware of it?
Yeah, Councilor O'Mara said a few minutes ago that he's going to make a motion to have the city clerk send out notices to all the abutters of the next public hearing.
And that it will be for the next public hearing here.
Correct.
Correct.
You know when that date might be?
September
September
15th.
15th.
September 15th.
15th.
September 15th.
Yeah,
September.
Correct.
Thank you. Thank
You're welcome. Anyone else in the audience who would like to speak on this matter, please step forward. Seeing no one,
Make a motion that the matter is continued until September 15th.
Second.
Second.
we have a motion and a second to continue this matter to September 15th. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Councilor O'Mara?
I'd like to make a motion to have the city clerk's office send notices out to the abutters stating that the matter was not withdrawn in the public hearing, will be continued to the meeting of September 15th.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next item on the agenda is CB Silver LLC for a special permit at 43 to 45 Church Street. A communication dated August 11th, 2026 was received from attorney Joe Tarby, requesting this be continued.
Make a motion that communication received and made part of the permanent record.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, for the record,
Darby?
yes, Attorney Joseph Tabby, Reuben and Redmond, 500 Unicorn Park Drive in Woburn. Here on behalf of the petitioner. As I indicated in the Special Permits Committee, we would be requesting a further continuance of the public hearing this evening. We have a revised plan that needs to be reviewed by the building commissioner before we can take the next step, and hopefully we can do that next week.
Any questions from the council? Doesn't seem like any. Do we have a motion?
Motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
Motion and a second to open the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this matter? Please step forward. Seeing no one.
Make a motion the public hearing be continued to the regular meeting of the council on September 15th.
Second.
Motion and a second to continue the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is a petitions by All Restorations, Inc. for a special permit under sections 5.1 subsection 57B for the overnight storage of up to 7 commercial vehicles in connection with a construction company at 6 Walnut Hill Park. The communication dated July 23rd, 2026 was received from Tom Quinn, the building commissioner. Further communication dated August 11th, 2026 was received from John Cashell, the planning director. And those are the communications.
Make a motion to receive the communications and make it part of the permanent record.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Carries. Attorney Giuliano, welcome back.
Good evening again, Mr. President, councilors. For the record again, Attorney James Giuliano, Giuliano Law Group, 607 Main Street here in Woburn, on behalf of my client, Kirk Post, who you may know, who is the prospective buyer at 6 Walnut Hill Park, which is the petitioned location. So my petitioner is seeking a special permit, again pursuant to Section 5.157B for overnight parking of up to 7 commercial vehicles. Currently, as I submitted in the package, there is a special permit dated from 1993 that already allows overnight parking of 4 parking spaces that, if you may know the area, is being utilized by Anderson Oil. The property is being sold to my client, subject to this conditions. So we're actually requesting to add 3 parking spaces to the existing special permit decision from 93. The property is a commercial office building, strictly office building at 6 Walnut Hill Park. It is located in the IG zoning district. The use is not changing, so my client operates a commercial and residential construction company, site work, finish work, things of that nature. It is strictly to be used for his offices that he's intending to use it for. So the idea is to essentially just have some trucks, box trucks, some dump trucks, small dump trucks, office, commercial trucks, things of that nature, parked. So they'll be out during the daytime, while the office workers are in. Office workers leave at a normal time around 5, 6 o'clock, and then at that point, the trucks will come back and go home to that parking lot for the overnight, and then rinse, repeat through the next day during the work week. So the use is not changing, and if you know that area, again, that is exactly what Anderson Oil is using that property for right now. Currently, the square footage of the office space is 2,400 square feet, so that requires, under our ordinance, 7 parking spaces, 1 per 350 square feet. As you can see from the site plan, we have 13 parking spaces, which is adequate enough. So the idea is to have parking spaces 1, 2, 9, and through 13 be the overnight, completely within the property lines. So right now, there's a gate, sort of a gate and a fence that sort of separates the area from Walnut Hill Park. There is, regarding Commissioner Quinn's comments, the buffer is actually all set. There's a vinyl fence, if you're, again, familiar with the property. Behind it is the R2 zoning district. There is probably about a 6 or 7 foot retaining wall. On top of that is a 6 foot vinyl fence. So all the buffer and concerns regarding lights and things of that nature are already buffered already through the site itself, being lower than the street above it. So that's all taken care of. There is lighting on the building, but we can certainly beef that up once that goes to committee and discuss that a little bit further. So that being said, I think we've addressed pretty much the crux of everything on that. Again, the use is not changing. We're using it exactly the same as the Anderson Oil office space. We just want to extend the parking overnight to 3 additional parking spaces. Certainly take any questions.
Questions from the council? Council Mercer Bruin?
Thank you, President Toro. Attorney, when we do go to committee, could you provide, I know you said 4, right? 4 vehicles?
4 additional, yes.
4 additional
I'm sorry,
vehicles?
4 are already permitted through a special permit, 3 additional.
So it will be a total of 7?
Correct.
Could you provide the make, model, size when you come to committee of the vehicles that you're proposing, please?
I can ask him. We can address that.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Council DeMambro?
Attorney Giuliano, they're just going to be storing trucks there. I know along with dump trucks comes other accessories that seem to get compounded behind the vehicles or around the vehicles as time goes on. So I guess my concern would be that it's strictly for parking and it's not a lay-down yard for extra material or a half a yard of mulch or stone or whatever, that they just, drop off at the end of the workday. We want to keep it nice and clean down there, and we want to just keep it specifically for overnight parking for the professionals and the commercial vehicles. Hopefully they can accommodate that.
That shouldn't be a problem.
Excellent. Thank you, sir.
Council Mercer Bruin?
And just a follow-up comment, Attorney, I know that this is an industrial park, but is very, very close proximity to a heavily residential populated area. So I'm also going to want to know the routes that these trucks are going to take, or planned routes, hours of operation, all of that. Thank you.
Council Viola?
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, Council Giuliano. Would the vehicles, would it include also trailers as well?
The intent is not trailers, just trucks specifically, axles and things like that.
All right, so if you could make sure that there's no trailers, or, because I don't know if they have bobcats or anything, if they'd be taking them, bringing them there as well.
No, again, it's just specifically for, the trucks that are being used in connection with his business. I don't believe he has any bobcats or anything like that, especially that are going to be stored on the property. It's not meant for that. I think it's meant to just expand the 3 extra spots. Similar to Anderson Oil, they're using their trucks that are directly associated with their business. This is going to be the same thing, and again, we can condition it so that there's no storage of any materials, plows, things that are sort of ancillary to that. That shouldn't be a problem.
Do you have a motion to open the public hearing?
Second.
So moved.
Thank you. Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Carries. Is there anyone here in the audience who would like to speak on this matter? Please step forward. Seeing no one.
Make a motion that the hearing be continued to the regular meeting of the council on September 15th, and the matter be referred to the Committee on Special Permits.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Attorney Giuliano.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is special permit petition by Robert Angelo, Patricia Angelo, and Michelle Angelo for a special permit under 15(6)C for the construction of an ADU with, in which total impervious area exceeds 50% of the lot area in the groundwater protection district at 27 Winter Street. A communication dated July 2023 was received from Thomas Quinn, the building commissioner. Further communication dated August 11th, 2026 was received from John Cashel, the planning director. And one more. A communication dated August 13th, 2026 was also received from Alex Rozicki, the city engineer.
Make a motion, communications are received, made part of the permanent record.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Good evening, Mr. President. Attorney James Giuliano again, Giuliano Law Group, 607 Main Street here in Woburn, on behalf of the applicant and owner. Again, as the clerk mentioned, this petitioner is seeking a special permit pursuant to section 15.6C to allow the construction of a detached ADU at 27 Winter Street, which we are here strictly because it is in the groundwater protection district. So the property consists of an existing single-family residential dwelling, roughly contains about 21,000 square feet of land located in the R1 zoning district. So the proposed ADU will be conforming, again, would require a building permit other than the fact that we have to come in front of you for the groundwater protection district special permit. Total ground coverage with the house, impervious areas is, and the ADU is 3,425 square feet. If you take the ordinance 15% of the lot area, we are required to have no more than 3,125 square feet of impervious area. So obviously the ADU does put us 300 square feet above. What we are proposing to do is recharge the entire 900 square feet of structure of the ADU, which puts us in the plus of 600 square feet. So we are infiltrating 600 more than is required under the ordinance. Stormwater analysis was provided to the council as well. Didn't seem like any concerns from the departments were put forth, and pretty straightforward. We would just request that this be voted favorably with the one condition tonight, which I can read or I can submit to the clerk, that the plan of record be submitted and the site plans be submitted. That condition. Unless the council had any other.
Member.
Attorney Giuliano, I spoke extensively with inspectional services on this, as well as our engineer, Alex. He doesn't seem to have any problems with the proposed drawings that Freddie Russell had drawn up. Mr. Russell is pretty affluent in these. I believe he wrote the ordinance on this and the code on this. So they're in good hands with Mr. Russell. So I have really no issues with this ADU. I'm in favor of it, and I would ask my fellow councilors to be in favor of it as well. Thank you, sir.
Just for the record, Madam Clerk, that the plan on record was dated July 13th, 2026.
Are you asking me or is that a statement?
Nope, make it a statement.
Thank you. Was that? Date again?
July
I have
13th,
some language if you want me to submit it, Madam Clerk.
2026, if you could.
I can. We just reiterate.
Make a motion that we receive this and make this part of the record as they were drafted.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Carries.
Make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
Motion and second to open the public hearing, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on this matter? Please step forward. Seeing no one.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Second.
Motion and a second to close the public hearing, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mr. President, I make a motion that that the city council adopt the two following findings: that in no way during construction or thereafter adversely affecting the existing or potential quality or quantity of water that is available in the groundwater protection district. And number two, that the design project will avoid substantial disturbance of soils, topography, drainage, vegetation, or other water-related natural characteristics of the site to be developed.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Make a motion that the special permit be granted with the one condition and the two findings as laid out here this evening.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Good
Attorney
luck.
Giuliano.
Thank you.
Good luck. Thank you.
Next agenda item is a petition by 20 Franklin's Realty Trust.
There you go.
Refiling of a special permit under 1985 Woburn zoning ordinance as amended, sections 5.1, section 69, section 7.3, and section 15.7 to raise a pre-existing non-conforming three-family structure to construct a new three-family dwelling in the groundwater protection district at 20 Franklin Street. This portion of this public hearing is to determine if there are specific and material changes from previously denied petitions. Just want to clarify that this is only the portion related to whether the refiling is considered a specific and material change.
Councilor Dillon.
President Toyle, just before we turn the floor over to Attorney Giuliano, can we just kind of, for the general public, break out how this is laid out tonight, where it's a two-part deal? If you, Clerk Higgins, would do that, that would be great.
Sure. Madam Clerk, do you want me to do that, or would you like to do that?
Either way is fine with me, it's whatever you like.
Okay, you can do it then.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So as I stated before, this portion of the public hearing is only for the, whether the refiling is considered a specific and material change. If the council so finds that, then we would continue on to a special, a public hearing and a special permit discussion on whether to approve such refiling. So the first portion is only, as labeled E in our agenda, is only to find if there's a specific and material change. If there's no specific and material change, then you would not move forward with the second public hearing.
Thank you.
And
Appreciate that.
most of the, as I discussed with the city solicitor, most of the communications we received and the department head communications would be accepted as part of the special permit in the second public hearing, if it gets there.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the clarification.
Thank you. Attorney Giuliano.
Good evening, Mr. President. Again, council members, for the record, Attorney James Giuliano, Giuliano Law Group, 607 Main Street here in Woburn, Mass. On behalf of 20 Franklin Street Realty Trust, with me here tonight is several constituents, but Kevin Childs, my client as well, to answer any questions that the council has. So as a councilor is very familiar with this petition, the petitioner sought a special permit under sections 5.1.69, section 7.3 as well, to raise the existing non-conforming three-family dwelling, which was damaged by fire back in 2024, which is construct a new three-family residential dwelling. In addition, because the property is located in the groundwater protection district, special permit under section 15 is also required under the ordinance. So, again, as Madam Clerk mentioned, we are asking that the council finds that this is substantially materially different than our last application, and I will elaborate a little bit on that. Under the Massachusetts general laws, we call it the repetitive petition statute. It's actually Mass General Laws, Chapter 40A, Section 16. The law does allow us to refile within the 2-year period if the council or authority does decide that it is substantially and materially different from the prior petition. We are here tonight, obviously, to argue that that is the case here tonight. So if the council recalls the first petition, we had a finding that was basically that the project was substantially not more detrimental to the neighborhood, but it was a no vote at the end, and it was denied. So we have to pretty much basically go off of what was presented at that time versus what is presented, hopefully at the next special permit hearing next. So if you look at the plans that were submitted with the special permit petition, the total square footage has reduced drastically by just about 2,000 square feet of living space. So we are at 7,657 square feet of living space with our first petition. Our second petition has livable space of 5,619, which is substantial. It's 2,000 square feet. Unit 1 went from 2,271 square feet to 1,541 square feet. Unit 2 went from 2,184 square feet to 1,843 square feet. And Unit 3 went from 2,561 square feet down to 2,195 square feet. So roughly each unit decreased about 600 to 700 square feet of livable space. Also, the building, if you look at it on the site plan, is completely within the setbacks. So again, other than the non-conforming use, we would not be in front of any board to build any sort of structure within the setbacks. So that is very important. If you remember correctly, we had all the setbacks pretty much adhered to except for the front. The front was questioned. We moved it back about 3 feet. Obviously, we're pushing it all the way back to 25 feet. Now, what that does from a safety standpoint is that there was arguments that were made to the council that pulling out of a 16, 17-foot driveway was dangerous. Well, now we're conforming to zoning regarding the driveways, creating a safer environment. So we're shrinking the building, we're shrinking the livable space, and we're creating a safe environment or safer environment for the pedestrians and the drivers that are coming out of there. So the question I always get is, well, what's this threshold look like? And I can put it in layman's terms, but the threshold is set up with case law. So if you look at Randy versus the Board of Appeals of Nantucket, they set sort of the guidelines as to what differentiates a substantial and material difference of the two applications. And what Randy said is basically it's in that case, they said the legal connection, in that case, they actually just shrunk the footprint and moved the building, and that was enough under that case in Nantucket to render it substantially and materially different. Obviously, we're doing much more than that. We're moving the building so it conforms, and we're severely shrinking the livable space. So we're doing two things in that manner. There was an Ashland case that actually went to the Board of Appeals, same thing, where they said that where the front setback was moved, that was enough to basically make a material and substantial change to the prior petition that was submitted to the town. So again, we're creating a safer environment where arguably we may not have done as much on the last petition. We're shrinking the livable space by 2,000 square feet. We're not talking a couple hundred. We're talking 2,000 square feet, a whole house. And we're moving the building and shrinking the building so that it fits within all of the setbacks. That, to me, is substantially different, and I hope the council makes that determination as well here tonight. We can certainly answer any questions, again, just based on the materially different application that we submitted.
Councilor Dillon.
Thank you, President Toyle. First off, I'd like to take a moment just to thank Attorney Giuliano through this whole process. He's always been professional with me and courteous, and although we may not always agree, I appreciate your professionalism.
Thank you. I say the same to you as well.
Thank you. With that said, we look at if there are specific and material changes from the previous petition. I look at both sets of plans, and I look at the new plan and the old plan, and indeed, 2,000 square feet different. My Woburn map tells me approximately 650 square feet per unit. And if you look up the definition of that specific material change and do a little research, it appears that that may fall into that. But my question is, the new plan has in the basement, and this was piqued by an email from a constituent, has bedrooms and bathrooms, and if I can break them down, compared to the old plan that just had a family room. So, in Unit 1, we have a bedroom in the basement in the new plan. In the old plan, we did not. We also have a full bath. In the old plan, we did not. That's Unit 1. We go to Unit 2, and again, in the basement, we have a bedroom and a full bath. In the old plan, it did not. Then we go to Unit 3, and it retained the family room, but added a half bath. does this extra square footage that is added to the basement, albeit you shrunk into the building envelope and you did cut down on the square footage, does that affect the specific and material changes? That is the question I have for my fellow city councilors and for you, Attorney Giuliano.
Yeah, and through the president. So that's a great question. So when we shrunk the livable space, if you look at the old plan, units 1 and 2, the bedrooms were upstairs in the second floor. So the bedroom count remains 3, but instead of having all family room in the basement, we had to put a third bedroom in the basement. Now, there's a balance, right? There's this sort of balance that you do as far as building what's going and what's going to be for resale, right? Vis-a-vis. So we wanted to keep it as a three bedroom, but when the last plan was put out, the basement was used as livable space and calculated towards the square footage. So we're not taking square footage and then hiding it somewhere else. The first floor and the second floor were always used as livable space calculations, and so wasn't the basement on the first plan. The second plan, same thing. We're still using the same amount of floors. It's just we're putting 1 bedroom in the basement instead of having 3 on the second floor. We're putting 2 on the second floor and 1 in the basement. So we are comparing apples to apples in that regard, if that makes sense to you.
But we're adding bathrooms.
No, so before there were 2 bathrooms on those 2 units, 1 in the master suite, 1 in the hallway. Now, if you look at the second plan, there should only be 1 bathroom in the master, and then in 1 that is in the basement for that second or third bedroom.
And just a point of record, both plans are dated the same?
There should be there's a revision on the one we submitted with the second application. I think it's July.
I believe I had
It is July 7th, so there was a further revision.
And that plan is stamped with that date?
Right, yeah, that's the one we submitted with the petition.
Okay, thank you.
Council O'Donnell?
I'm good.
Any other questions from city councils? Nope. Council Demers?
So some of the concerns that were brought up at the previous hearing about the previous design entailed storage for snow removal. So what was the original frontage?
It was just about 19 feet from the front.
And you've moved to the full 25?
Correct.
And what about additional parking? Have the calculations increased any additional parking spaces?
Well, just by the fact that we are elongating the driveways and adding the garage, it would add for an additional parking space, 1.5, so to speak. So yeah, I mean, we're adding actually another car with a smaller vehicle, absolutely. Yeah, because now the driveways are going to be 25 feet versus 18 or so.
Yep. And I think one of the concerns that we all shared at the last hearing was the capability of there being an ADU on the bottom floors of these units. And I think the bedroom piece pretty much takes away from that if you're going to be having that as a standard living space, as opposed to a family room in each unit that could be later turned into an ADU if compliant with the law and the statute, correct?
That is 100% correct. So think of it as we're just carving a storage room and making it a bedroom. Obviously, I'm simplifying it because we need egress, but the egress to those units, the second means of egress remains in that basement. We cannot section that basement off for any reason whatsoever, let alone adding that to our condition that we are still adhering to and still sticking by in our second petition. So that is 100% correct.
No further questions. Thank you.
Council DeMembro?
Hey, Giuliano, I know on the last time we had to go around on this, retaining wall was a concern and drainage was a concern. So I see in your conditions all kinds of language.
The conditions actually relate to,
The second part.
The second part, right?
Yeah, this is just for the material change.
Okay, so we're not going to talk about drainage?
Not right now, not as part of this. We can if
On the
it
next
makes
one?
it to the next.
Okay, I'll hold.
you can talk about the drainage if it's related to the specific and material change.
I don't see anything as a material change for the drainage. Is there any?
We are not required to, because the building is smaller, the calculations lessen, but no, everything remains the same with you mentioned before.
The existing storm drain and connecting into it and so on and so
Correct.
forth?
Everything is,
No need for any type of a infiltration
We're
system?
well, we
Counsel-
do have an
Counselor, we can talk about that if it gets to the next step.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
fair enough. We'll call it on the
Rob.
next.
Counselor Ferrullo.
Attorney Giuliano, on the case law,
Yes.
only a standard needs to be made to consider it. You're already making at least two, if not more, standards as set by case law.
100%, yeah, I mean, there's different things that trigger the substantial change. We're not saying we have to meet all of those requirements, meaning we had brought up a use argument, and we had a structural argument. They don't have to meet both of those. We just have to say that overall, we're overwhelmingly meeting the structural element by shrinking the building so much that that's a substantial change. We don't need to meet all of the prongs, that's correct.
Well, you've made it smaller and you've done the setback and okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
Correct.
Any other counselors? No. What up?
I'm still struggling that I still have the same date on both plans. And I believe,
So if you look at the site plan, which is,
I'm looking at the building plans.
well, they show, so those are just the architecturals, which, again, those are just computer generated, but the sheets you want to look at are the ones generated by, I'm trying to read here. Sheets A1 through 7. I'm sorry. Sheets C1 and C2, those are the site plans that we're referring to relating to the footprints. If you look, it's very small, but it's tilted. It'll say revised REV,
I get it.
Yep,
July
It's
7th, I know.
thrown off by
Yep.
going with the building
I
plans.
gotcha.
Okay, thank you.
So, President Toro, one more question. What was the date you had in your,
On the site plan,
yes, please?
July 7th. So it was generated in January 23rd, revised February 5th, revised February 10th, revised April 14th, revised April 20th, and then lastly revised July 7th, at least if my eyes are correct.
Oh, you know, Counselor, the revisions are off to the side.
You gotta dig it deep into the,
Yep.
thank you.
Welcome.
Okay.
Make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to open the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there anyone here in the audience that would like to speak specifically on this matter? Please step forward. As a reminder, please state your full name and address and speak loudly into the microphone.
Liz Pasek, 16 Franklin Street, and welcome back. So, going through all these plans was a little complicated because it was on all these different sheets and stuff, but by my calculations, I was seeing things that were different, and maybe I've totally missed something, but he's clearly shrunk the size, the footprint, the square footage, the frontage is pushed back, and he has reduced the living space. That I see. But what I also see is and I'm looking at all three units together. I see one more bedroom than what was on the prior plan, and I see 4 more bathrooms than before. I saw a total of 11 bathrooms, not 7. And if that's accurate, that's just a step in the really wrong direction. And yeah, it's a change materially and substantive, but not in a favorable, positive way, the way I see that. So, you know, my conclusion based on that analysis this is just not headed in the right direction. And I know we're looking at this set of plans compared to the May set of plans, but I want to just also frame it into what we're looking at today versus what it was originally. And even with all these changes in the size and setback and footprint and living space, you have to understand this project is still 82% larger in the footprint in the nonconformity. So, that I think is something to consider. Even with the reduced living space, it's a whopping 275% larger than the original house. That's huge. So, I guess I look at it, I'm framing it differently. But what is really, really concerning to me is the number of bathrooms and bedrooms that have increased. I was looking through that, and I always get caught up because it's used legally versus colloquially, density and intensity, but, the intensity of the internal density of the living space just seems like he shrunk it down, but he's added more bathrooms and a bedroom in one of these units. And it just seems like it's going to definitely turn it into more likely a rooming house, a boarding house, whatever you want to call it. This is not something that's going to likely attract families who want to build their home there and fit into our neighborhood, because that's what we are, single and two-family houses primarily on Franklin Street. And I just think that this is still, it's still an issue, and I think that the changes with the bedrooms and the bathrooms are not beneficial and are not in the right direction. I did notice that the driveway did increase in length, and we can get all kinds of clever ways of parking and stuff, but, when you look at 25 feet and you look at the average length of a car, and I was researching the average length of compact cars, it's 14 feet. If you park two in tandem, 14 and 14 is 28. That means the tail end of the car is out in the sidewalk. So, yes, it is an improvement. It is a step in the right direction, but it still is going to be short unless you're parking, I guess, perpendicular to the other car. I don't know. So it's not quite as perfect a solution as was presented. As far as the issues with the snow removal, let's start with the ADUs first, because Mr. Quinn, in his August 12th, or whatever, the recent memo, he addressed there can be no ADUs inside the building attached. And there has been, I think it was the second committee meeting, he addressed detached units, and he said this site plan couldn't have one, but certainly there's language where you could certainly move. There's so much land, the water filtration, the drainage system certainly could be moved in such a way that a multifamily house, I guess you're entitled to one ADU. So potentially it could have one detached ADU.
Basic. If we can keep the comments for now to the material change.
Sure. They talked about ADUs. I thought I would talk about ADUs. That was my error. I was following the lead. Because now I'm going to talk about snow removal. Can I do that? I talked about parking, ADUs, snow removal. The snow removal plan that Mr. Chili's actually told me was basically to plow, and he owns a plowing company and probably knows way better plowing techniques than me, but plow it all to the left, which is a strip of, 12-foot land, basically that setback to the left of the garage, and just plow it off the end, off that short retaining wall for all three units. There is no other place to put the snow. We've been there for 39 years, and believe me, we have a big blacktop, and we've dealt with this. So I challenged that. Plus, he also told me that that's where other cars could park, so I'm not sure where they park in the winter. So I have some problems with that. So I just don't think that this is beneficially, materially, and substantively changed, given the increase in the number of bedrooms and bathrooms. I really think it's not going to be beneficial for the neighborhood. I think it's he and his investors win, and the Franklin Street neighborhood loses. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the audience that would like to speak on this matter, please step forward. Just a reminder, please keep the comments to the material change.
Good evening. My name is Catherine Shaughnessy. I reside 31 Scott Street in Woburn, in Hammond Square. This is my neighborhood and has been since 1957. The attorney for the petitioner found a way that I was unaware of, probably none of us were, to come back through the side door and revive a petition that was denied in May. And that's the key part. It was denied. And yes, he had a right to do that, but it doesn't mean that you have to vote to accept or rehear the failed petition. And that's key. It failed in May. What's proposed now, in my mind, is mind-bending, really. And even though he's saying it's 2,000 feet less, it is, with the more bedrooms, it's more detrimental to an already congested neighborhood. So he can come back, if it's been denied, let him refile a brand-new petition and go forward that way, not revive a petition that's already been denied. And that's the most compelling. And just one other point is, it was never determined, and I went through the meeting, I was at the meeting, nobody talked about whether it was legally a non-conforming three-family. And it was brought up in many meetings. I know I brought it up. And that was never addressed. And the night of the vote, there was no discussion on that. And I still feel that the petitioner had to prove that it was a legal, non-conforming
Ms. Shaughnessy,
three-family.
can you stick to the material change, please?
And he never did that. And I think that's a very important point right there. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the audience would like to speak on this matter, please step forward.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Again.
Can you just state your name and address for the record, please?
Michael Pasek,
Thank you.
16 Franklin Street, Woburn, Mass. 01801.
Thank you.
Direct abutter. Catherine brings up a good point, that this hearing, having this hearing come to us in July after a rejection in May, seems a little untoward. Something doesn't feel quite right with the expeditious manner in which this was brought back. That being said, this petition has no material difference between the petition that was sent to us in, we'll say March, but turned down in May. That was to raise 20 Franklin Street fire damaged property and replace it with a three-family townhouse in an R2 district. The petition I saw submitted in July is to raise 20 Franklin Street, a fire damaged property, and replace it with a three-family townhouse in an R2 district. I see no material differences between the two. I would be hard-pressed to see 2,000 square feet versus not 2,000 square feet be a material difference when the same number of occupants, the same impact on traffic, the same impact on parking, an increase in population density, and kind of a design that is a disregard for the character and the temperament of the structures that exist in a historic district in this part of Woburn. So, this petition, new petition, does nothing to address the negative impacts of the original petition. The frontage is still 78 feet long with 3 driveway cutouts. Same, no difference. Okay? 25-foot driveways, fine. As Liz just said, it's still one car, right? We've got that many bedrooms, that many bathrooms. Density hasn't changed. Last time I checked, Franklin Street was still no parking both sides. So this petition does nothing to alleviate that. The height is the same, the width is the same. We've got more bedrooms and more baths. So There's nothing to reduce the negative impact that the old design had, and this design should not be given consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Is anyone else in the audience that'd like to speak on this matter? Please step forward. Sir, come on up. Please state your name and address for the record.
Sean Coakley, 640 Main Street. I came down tonight to be in full support of that newest plan that's been brought forward. I think every time, he's gone a long way with revising the plan. Every time you have to revise a plan, just makes that number keep going up. He meets all his front setbacks, side setbacks. We have to be a friendly city. When a guy tries this hard and goes this far with it, didn't give up, to give him an honest shot at building a beautiful building. If someone doesn't like it, they have a right to appeal it. But this guy's walked the walk for you guys. I think we should give him a favorable shot tonight. Thank you for
Thank you.
listening.
Thank you, Sean.
Anybody else in the audience like to speak on this matter? Please step forward. How are you, sir?
Evening. Honorable Councilman. Darlene, good to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Sir,
On a
can you give me
positive
Could you
note,
just-
my name is
Just
Michael
state- thank you.
Dampolo. Sorry.
Michael what?
On a positive note,
I'm sorry, can
Michael
you
what?
repeat your name?
Michael Dampolo.
Thank you.
60 Olympia Avenue, Woburn.
Thank you.
You're welcome. On a positive note, this is a positive building that they're putting up. 3 families can move to this great city and raise their children and their families and live in a good house. Not what's there now. If we look at the negative that has been there and what has gone on there, it will improve the neighborhood. So I'm seeking for you guys to be positive on this, and let's get this done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi,
Evening.
John Casey, 11 Garden Terrace. I'd like to speak in favor of this project. Looking at the reduction he's done from what he originally did, I think that's probably done enough to get to the next phase here. But, I mean, he's really proposing 3 really nice units there, pushing to be owner-occupied townhouses. There's so much worse that can go in the area. If you look at Woburn Heights, for example, or something, that got tucked right down the neighbors there. They wish they never even opposed that originally. But the reality is he could put, 2, 3, 4 units in there, could be all rentals. These are going to be owner-occupied, and it looks like he's doing a great job by looking at his plan, so I speak highly in favor.
Thank you, John. Anybody else in the audience like to speak on this matter? Please step forward. How are you, sir?
Good evening, Council Member. My name is Tom Harmon. I live at 28 Fairway Drive in Woburn. I've lived in Woburn for 40 years. My kids have gone to school here. My kids have enjoyed every aspect that this city has to offer. My son, as a matter of fact, lives here in Woburn too, but it's been a hard struggle for him to find a house. Because, and you all know it, the houses have raised so much in value that a lot of people are priced out of it. He's a young family member. They've got a 2-year-old son. They ended up buying a house. It's 895 square feet for 2 adults and a child. So she has a second child.
Sir, I'm just going to stop you a quick second.
Yep.
For this part of the public hearing, if you can just keep your comments specific to the material change.
Sure. I'm
Thank
giving
you.
you a little background as to where my opinion is coming from. So they're priced out of the market, and it's because some projects like this are not getting pushed through. This project offers an opportunity for families to come into Woburn the way our families have come here. Sure, in 3-family homes and 2-family homes. This townhouse approach is much better than what we're getting offered now. When we go to the Avalon, we see these massive structures. People don't have a driveway, they don't have a yard. This offers families that come into Woburn now an opportunity to have what most families are looking for in a smaller footprint. It's not necessarily a single-family home, but it is to a certain extent. There is a driveway, there is a yard. And I think that for the good of Woburn and the way that the rest of us have been brought up, this type of project is what we really need. And to try to have the opinions and preferences of a few contaminate the approach of this project and negate it is a travesty. Because what are we doing elsewhere to put more development in for families and single-family homes? I don't see it happening. All I see are these larger developments taking place. That's my opinion. I support this. I think, that the concessions that a few may want to make are in the better good for the city as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else in the audience like to speak on this matter? Please step forward. Mr. Parley, how are you this evening?
Ken Polly, 5 Marion Street, North Woburn. Madam Secretary, President Toro, council members, great to see you guys. Thank you. Thank you. When I think material, I think physical, right? If I went to a butcher, he said a head of steers about 800 pounds, and I was going to pay $3,000, and then he gave me 600 dressed, I would say that's materially different. Very substantially different. We're not talking 5, 2, 1. This is 25% smaller. Substantially. So I think we should offer the courtesy that this gentleman's expressing his time, their energy, effort, life force to make our city better. Right? We're going to keep having conversations about these derelict buildings and what's that definition that the state, we see them coming up. But I think we need to hear out the other side of this. Thank you, guys. Appreciate
Thank you, Ken.
Thanks, Kenny.
Anybody else in the audience like to speak on this matter? Please step forward.
John Russo, 125 Pearl Street. I'd like to speak in favor of the whole project because he's looked like he's changed the footprint. He's made it smaller. He's kind of gone through leaps and bounds to try to get this thing done. You got a house that's sitting there abandoned for all these months that something needs to be done with it. He's come forward and tried to make a solution for it. So I'm in favor of the project, and I hope that you guys can take it to the next step and vote on it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anybody else in the audience who would like to speak on this matter? Please step forward. How are you, sir?
Good evening. Hi, how are you tonight? I'm President Toro, Madam Clerk, and members of the City Council. Thank you for the opportunity.
You could
to
just
speak
do me a favor,
favorably
please, sir, and state your name and address.
petition. Yes, my name is Paul Solano, Solano, 16 Garden Street, number 1R in Medford, Mass.
Thank you.
And I am happy to stand in front of you as a proponent of this petition. Mr. Childs recently told me about this very exciting project in the great city of Woburn, and as a former member of the Malden Planning Board in the 1990s, I used to vote on many issues like the one before you this evening. And I've taken extra interest to look at the facts and zoning issues that have been presented during this review process. And all of the 11 or so mitigation issues that have been set forth will stay the same as agreed to by this very trustworthy and responsible developer. In my humble opinion, the alternatives proposed will be more detrimental to the neighborhood if this petition is not granted, and will fit well into the neighborhood. Now, in my humble opinion, I've known Mr. Childs for a long time. I am a proponent of his. We've worked together on many different fundraisers, and he will do the right thing. His desire to work with the neighborhood and city government to create that win-win situation will fit into his character. Please give Mr. Childs a chance. I have heard some opposition this evening, and I'm sure that everyone could work together. But please give him a chance. He really is interested in setting up a wonderful development here in Woburn. And I thank you again for taking the time to accept my testimony of this initiative, and I humbly ask you to approve this petition. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is Is there anybody else in the audience that would like to speak on this matter? Please step forward.
Hi, my name is David DeAngelis. I live at Strawberry Lane here in Woburn, and I'm here tonight to express my support for the redevelopment of 20 Franklin Street. You know, I believe the council needs to look at the project from a perspective of the entire ward in the city of Woburn, not simply the objections of a few neighbors that live close to the property. The immediate neighbors certainly have the right to express their concerns, and I respect them, their right to be heard. However, I do believe that any individual or small group of neighbors should not effectively have the veto power over regional development simply because they would personally prefer the property to remain unchanged. Woburn needs a responsible investment in housing and neighborhoods at 20 Franklin Street. We currently have a fire-damaged three-family property with a difficult history. The proposed before you would replace that property with 3 new townhouses, and the plan has already been significantly reduced and modified in response to the concerns raised throughout the process. And in light of that, like, ownership of property creates more of a community than rentals. Rental people come and go. And people that own things are more likely to take care of them. You know, so I would ask the council to consider the bigger picture and what's best for Franklin Street as a whole, entire ward, and the city of Woburn. In my opinion, replacing the damaged property with new homes is a positive investment in this neighborhood, and the overall benefit far outweighs the objections of a small number of residents. For those reasons, I respectfully ask the city council to support and approve the redevelopment of 20 Franklin Street. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody else in the audience would like to speak on this matter? Please step forward. Come on up, sir. State your name and address for the record.
Robert Klein, 8 Battle Flag Road, Bedford, Mass. I'm sitting here listening. I'm going to try to appeal to the common sense here. I've heard a few people talk about how you need affordable housing here in town, and I do know the developer, and I think he's a great guy. He builds a fabulous product. But every time this gets kicked down the road, the price of the affordable housing goes up. And I'm not telling you to rush this through. I want everybody to consider what the options are, the burned out house or 3 new townhouses. But every time this gets kicked down the road, he has to pay Mr. Giuliano, he has to pay his architect to redraft and things like that. And it makes the house a little less affordable because his cost is more. And obviously the townhouses are going to go anymore. But I'm just trying to appeal to the common sense of the board here. And if there is a way to approve it, I think that's a good idea.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else in the audience that would like to speak on this matter? Please step forward. Seeing no one. Councilor Dillon.
Yeah, thank you, President Toyle. Before we close the public comment, I understand it's not an easy deal for everyone to understand how this process should go here tonight. That's why I tried to lay it out in the beginning, and I think both sides, pro and cons, kind of went astray. So I'm going to try to bring it back to, again, where it's specific and material changes we're talking about now. The other stuff, if it gets approved, we'll deal with. So I'm going to ask Attorney Giuliano, is this statement true or not true? The changes made to the July plan do reduce the footprint and living space. However, there's added 36% more bathrooms and 11% more bedrooms. Simple as that. If I'm wrong, I could compare both sets of plans and go on, but that's a pretty simple statement. Is it true or is it not? And I think that falls into, if it is true, we should look at it as specific and material changes.
So I would answer that. I got to look at the first filing to answer that with complete honesty. But I will say this, the good thing for us is that the statute doesn't discriminate, meaning whether it's substantially different in a good way or a bad way, that's not the standard. The standard is it substantially different? And I heard one of the abutters say it's substantially different, but not for the better. well, again, the statute does not discriminate. So if we put a house that was 2,000 square feet bigger, is it substantially different than the first plan? That's all we're asking, and I can look that up to the next one. Again, I think from my memory of the first plan, we are just shifting bedrooms, putting them in the first, in the basement, along with their bathrooms, and that's pretty much it.
I don't know if it would be appropriate, but I have a full box behind me that I can find the plan if we took a 10-minute recess.
Make a
or-
motion to take a
Yeah.
10-minute recess.
We have a motion and a second to make a, motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to take a 10-minute recess. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We will be back at 7:25.
Is there a motion to turn regular order of business?
Motion to return the regular order.
Second.
Second.
Motion and a second to return to the regular order of business. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Councilor Dillon, would you like to state?
Thank you. Attorney Giuliano, what'd you come up with?
I can now
sir?
make an accurate statement, Councilor Dillon. So the first petition had three bedrooms per unit, 9 total bedrooms.
Can you just, I want to write this down. Can you slow down, please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
First petition had 9 total bedrooms. The second petition has 9 total bedrooms. The first petition had 9 total bathrooms. The second petition has 11 total bathrooms.
Okay, thank you.
Good?
Before we close the public hearing based on this information, can we make one more call out to the public if anyone has any
Sure.
input? Please.
Would anyone else in the audience like to speak on this matter? Please step forward. Seeing no,
This is on.
please keep it to the material change. We verified it, numerous of us during the break. Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this matter? Please step forward. Seeing no one.
Make a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
Motion and a second to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Make a motion to make the following findings. Under the requirement that the petition had specific and material changes from the previously denied petition. 1, that the reduction of the square footage of the proposed plans is specific and material changes from the previous petition. And 2, adherence to the Woburn zoning ordinance's required setbacks are specific and material changes from the previously denied petition.
On the motion? Just for my fellow councilors, this is in support.
Was there a second?
I'm
I
sorry.
didn't hear one.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank
We have
you.
a second. On the motion, just for the fellow councilors before we vote on this, if you vote yes, it's in support that there's a material change.
No, that's not, I have that as a finding. Is that correct?
It's a finding.
It's a finding, it's not. the
I'm
actual-
sorry.
This is just the
This is
findings.
for the yes.
Findings of
I'm
fact.
sorry. This is a step before. This is for the finding. Okay, and we're going to do this. So we have a motion and a second. We're going to do this by roll.
Roll call.
So, just clarification. Yes means it goes to the next step.
Well,
Yeah.
at this point, we're approving findings that validate us going
Yes.
to
To the
make a
next
vote to the next step.
Very good.
Step 1A.
Yep.
So we have a motion and a second, and Madam Clerk, by roll call?
You want it by roll call on?
Yes.
The findings of facts, the 2 of them as outlined by Councilor Demers. Councilor Amara.
Aye.
Councilor Demers.
Aye.
Councilor Dillon.
No.
Councilor DeMambro.
Aye.
Councilor Ferrulo.
Aye.
Councilor Mercer Bruin.
Nay.
Councilor Papalato.
No.
Councilor Viola.
Aye.
President Toro.
Aye. Motion carries.
6-3, yeah.
Next motion.
I'll make a motion that the city council find that the petition before us is specific and material changes from the previously denied petition.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
Roll
By
call.
roll call? Sorry, Madam Clerk.
Yep. A motion and a second to approve the specific and material change. Council Mara.
Aye.
Council Mers.
Aye.
Council Dillon.
No.
Council DeMambro.
Aye.
Council Ferrulo.
Aye.
Council Mercer Bruin.
Nay.
Council Papalato.
Nay.
Council Viola.
Aye.
President Toro.
Aye.
6-3.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Would you like me to clarify? Yes. Do you want me to clarify for the public?
I can, or if you want to.
Yeah, you can. That's fine. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is because there was a material and specific change found in item E on the agenda, we are now moving to item F for public hearing of the agenda. So this is on the underlying special permit that was refiled for approval of the underlying special permit. It's for 20 Franklin Street. If a specific and material change is found to exist, which it has been, for a special permit under the Woburn zoning ordinances, section 5.1, subsection 69, section 7.3, and section 15.7 to raise a pre-existing non-conforming 3-family structure with a new three-family dwelling in the groundwater protection district at 20 Franklin Street. There are several communications on the file for this. The communication dated August 11th, 2026 was received from John Cashel, the planning director. Further communication dated August 12th, 2026 was received from Tom Quinn, the building commissioner. Not on the extended agenda, there were various letters from neighbors addressed to the city clerk, Council Dillon, and Attorney Jim Giuliano.
Make a motion that communications are received and made part of the permanent record.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Carries.
Good evening again, Mr. President, members of the council. Again, for the record, Attorney James Giuliano, Giuliano Law Group, 607 Main Street, here in Woburn, on behalf of the petitioner, 20 Franklin Street Realty Trust. So I'm going to try to keep things on the rails here. I know a lot of this will be repetitive from the first petition, but I think it's important to reintroduce it. Obviously, this is a new petition. This petition, we're not asking for any substantial changes. We're asking, going back to the original, that this petition is substantially not more detrimental to the neighborhood than what is at the existing property now. So we want to get back to the original permit. But there are things I will slowly introduce just to get into the record, try to abbreviate some of the things that I'm sure the council is aware of that I don't want to beat a dead horse on. So bear with me a little bit on that. So the petitioner, as you know, is seeking a special permit under sections 5.1.69 and 7.3 to raise the existing non-conforming three-family dwelling, which was recently damaged by a fire back in 2024, and construct a new three-family dwelling. In addition, because the property is in the groundwater protection district, a special permit pursuant to section 15 is necessary. The property is located in the R2 zoning district, contains 18,000 square feet of land, give or take, and about 125 feet of frontage. Again, as in December of 2024, the property did sustain a significant fire, leaving the structure severely damaged as it sits today. No improvements have been made as of today. My client, again, acquired the property back in November of 2025 with the intent of redeveloping it as we are here. Obviously, the property consists of currently a partially fire-damaged three-family dwelling unit, 15 feet off of Franklin Street, a deteriorated detached two-car garage about 12 feet from the side property line, a dilapidated rear structure, and a dilapidated above-ground swimming pool. So again, we were here a few months ago. We all know the procedural history of it, but again, we're asking for a petition for a special permit based on what I have mentioned previously. The proposed building will now comply with all zoning regulations and setbacks. So as you saw within the current plans, there would really be no relief needed for the setbacks. It is all encompassed within our ordinance. The existing structure is footprint of 4,153 square feet. The petition now is 4,192 square feet. Most of the increase, again, is due to, we have some additional pavement, obviously, for the driveway, which is a good thing because now the driveways are a little bit elongated. So that's why we weren't able to reduce it, but we pretty much stuck to the original footprint. I mentioned, again, to put on the record, Unit 1 is going to be 1,541 square feet. Unit 2 is going to be 1,843 square feet. Unit 3 will be 2,195 square feet. And again, the property is going from roughly about over 7,100 square feet down to 5,100 square feet. So about 2,000 square feet has been reduced. The groundwater protection, we're infiltrating according to the ordinance. 2,669 square feet is to be infiltrated based on the 15% calculation under our ordinance, section 15. We are infiltrating 2,722, so we're about 100 or so square feet over what is necessary to infiltrate. So again, that is just for sort of a catch up everybody on what's going on with the new petition. I will have to unfortunately reintroduce some materials because this is a new petition. To make life easier, everybody did get a copy of of what I'm submitting tonight in the prior petition, but these are a few things relating to the use. So, Madam Clerk, I would like to submit, before I speak about the use, census records going back from 1962, our drainage summaries, a letter from John Connolly, our chief appraiser, a letter from our city solicitor, And that is it. So again, just for the master file, I think everybody has a copy from
Make a motion to accept as part of the permanent
Second.
record.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
So we spoke about the structure, how the structure is going to conform with all the setbacks within our zoning. The use, as I mentioned in the prior petition, I think we have a silver bullet regarding our use. We have a letter from the building commissioner back in the 80s that states that, in his opinion, the property is a legal three-family. We have a letter from our city solicitor confirming in a legal memorandum that the property is based off of a three-family. I did some research, and our census records provided are consistent with the uses of a three-family. Just so the council knows, Maura Healy implemented a new zoning enactment, which now means that if a property was not used for 2 consecutive years, she bumped that up to 4 consecutive years. I noticed in our census records that wasn't the case. We don't need it, but just for future reference, if those arguments are made, it's no longer 2 years, it is 4 years of non-use that is allowed now under the new zoning amendment enactment that she passed. And we have assessor's records going back from 1999 taxing the parcel as a three-family. Again, all as I have submitted tonight, same as the first petition. I think based on what I have submitted, there's probably nothing more that I can submit that would show that this property was consistently used as a three-family going back prior to the 1985 zoning ordinance. Basically, if the council decided that that is not the case, we are simply abandoning our city solicitor and his legal opinion, our tax collector, our assessor. Those are really the things, and not only that, the inspectional service at the time. So those are 3 concrete things of evidence that you can say whatever you want or argue whatever you want, that it's not been used as a three-family. That is concrete evidence in writing supplied by 3 or 4 different departments in our city at 3 different times. So very strong silver bullet, and I want you to consider that when you decide that this use is a conforming three-family. Now, in summary to this project, again, we're improving drainage, we're improving groundwater recharge, we're allowing the building to comply with all the zoning requirements, as I mentioned. We're taking a dilapidated structure and improving it, obviously. We're upgrading all the utilities in the structure, enhancing the safety by pushing the driveways back and elongating them, just creating an overall safer environment than what is there right now. In our last petition, again, I'll get into a little bit more. We heard the abutters that obviously influenced the council at the last petition, but we have now overwhelming letters that were supplied on the record from constituents and neighbors and owners that are in the city of Woburn that are for this and why they're for this. And I know we kind of got off the rails a little bit on the last public hearing, but they will speak again appropriately as to this petition where it is ripe. So I think that should not be overlooked, that this is something that the city needs and deserves. The fact of the matter is again, when I mentioned Maura Healy and the state has made a bunch of zoning amendments that are not going to stop. If you talk to anybody from the State House, they will tell you that pretty much they're formulating things that will essentially eradicate single-family zoning. So we need to start here. We need to start by proactively developing for the city so that we are basically telling the developers what they should be putting there, not being on our heels and just allowing people to do things as a matter of right. What we have here is a good legal construction change of a dilapidated structure to a nice, neat, and I'm going to try to put it on the board. Sorry, yeah, please. And try to go over what is possible if this petition is denied. And again, I never like to fearmonger, but it's reality, unfortunately. So I think it's important that the council understands what we're proposing versus what could be. Again, legally, we just told you that the use has been confirmed as a three-family based on multiple sources. So I'm going to try to do this. So there was discussions, obviously, at the last petition, and I'm sure they're going to continue when the public hearing is open at this petition of a two-family. This is half of what could possibly go as a matter of right. So this is a property that is a two-family with a of right accessory dwelling unit that can go with a building permit. So, as you know, an accessory structure in Woburn can go 4 feet off the back. So all the concerns of the neighbors that the property encroaches too close would be negated if this petition is essentially denied. So that is of right. To mention, we are allowed a second ADU pretty much by special permit with sort of no guidelines that we could stick in the back of this property with plenty of land and plenty of open space to allow us to put it without going over on the calculations of the ordinance. So, and because obviously we are close to a MBTA station and transit station, parking will be limited to nothing. So again, I don't want to, we're not threatening, we're not fear-mongering, we're just telling you what actually can happen as a matter of right with a building permit. This is what the structure will sort of look like from the street. Personally, I don't think it's very attractive. Not only that, but you're lending yourself to renters, as we mentioned before, and I'll say it again. An ADU is a rental. It's not a condominium. It can never be a condominium. It's not designed to be a condominium where someone has ownership rights. It will be a rental. And where a rental comes, a rental will probably be somewhere on the other two-family as well that's a standalone. So you're not really inviting somebody to have ownership in the property by allowing something to go as a matter of right, unfortunately. I mentioned that my client has every intent with this three-family to basically create a condominium, have three separate owners, somebody who has interest in the property, which obviously is just better for everybody, versus what this could come out as. So again, we have elongated driveways, we have some room for landscaping. We are basically boxing out the possibility of any ADUs being put in, because again, we're in the envelope of our zoning ordinance. We can't go outside of that. So there's no physical place to put an ADU or get to it at that matter. So this is a better project. This is going to allow people to have an ownership interest, and we think it should be approved. Now, again, I know we have some constituents that will be speaking in opposition, but we also will have some constituents speaking approving this project as it is proposed. I mentioned to you a little bit before, again, we've had some talks with the neighbors. I think Councilor Dillon can certainly corroborate that. And again, I'm not speaking for them. There has been talks about an easement area from the neighbors that is depicted in this slide here. What would enable this to happen, if this is what they are asking for, is it would completely eradicate it with the two-family. So again, I'm not saying there's ulterior motives or anything of that nature, but we want to make it clear that we think that the land is valued, and perhaps that might be something that would deter somebody from voting against this. We've tried to work with the neighbors. I think we can corroborate that. We still will work with the neighbors, and we have worked with the neighbors with our conditions that we are proposing. So these are the areas, multiple areas. I'll try to blow it up a little bit. These are the areas that are going to all essentially be eradicated, that are dilapidated. So we have a veranda, some sort of deck. We call it the tiki hut. We have a garage. All these things are dilapidated that are coming down. So I said a lot. I've introduced a lot. I'm sure there's some questions that need to be answered, but I just need to know that we are adhering to the prior conditions that we have submitted. We're not abandoning those. I think that speaks highly for my client. He's leaving all of those conditions on the table. I have copies with me tonight. There were some additional conditions that Commissioner Quinn added that we have added in there, specifically numbers 10 and 11, one regarding exterior lighting, which is not a problem, and then the snow storage. So regarding the snow storage, it's a residential dwelling. So we put a condition that the snow has to remain on site, just like any other single-family, two-family, three-family dwelling. The snow has to remain on site. It cannot go over a neighbor's property. It can't go on the street. It has to remain on site. There is room to put it, just like there would be if they wanted the two-family, because don't forget, we'd have two ADUs. I would argue there'd be less storage space if you had more structures and more footprint with two ADUs in a two-family dwelling. So snow storage is not a problem here, just like we all deal with it in our residential neighborhoods. So as long as it stays on site, which it will, it should not pose a problem to anybody. I've said a lot, and I again apologize for being repetitive from the first petition, but it's necessary to get that into the record on the second. So that being said, I have my client here. I can certainly answer any questions. And just to give everybody a heads up, we do have neighbors, constituents that have submitted for the record letters and are here tonight. So,
Mr. President?
Yes.
The attorney made a point that I forgot. You do have proposed conditions in front of you, and those were not accepted for the record.
Make a motion, we accept these proposed conditions as a working draft.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Attorney Giuliano. Is there anyone on the council that would like to speak? Councilor Dillon?
Thank you, President Toyle. So, look at this, and we've gone through this previously, and I'm not going to go back and state what I felt earlier and said if it was in my neighborhood. I'm elected by the neighborhood. I'm elected by my constituents. Maybe there's going to be an overwhelming support that there wasn't the last time, and I'll listen. But I'm also going to listen to my neighborhood constituents that this absolutely is in their neighborhood. I hear what's going on here, and it sounds like I may be fighting a losing battle, but I'm not going to walk away here with any regrets. If it's a failure, I can live with my failures, but not my regrets. Again, I still, and this is no disrespect to previous building inspectors, current City Hall employees, in my heart of hearts, I wonder if that truly was a three-family and used that way. You have evidence stating such. I have my doubts still. So I think everyone sees where I'm going with this, and I'm going to leave it at that for now.
Again, my concern is definitely, the groundwater, the surface water, storm water, that it's adequately, handled. Stormwater management on that property, to me, is a key because it's a good-sized structure. There's quite a bit of impervious surface, and I'm concerned, about any of that water shedding to any of the neighbors, regardless of whether we go two-family here with ADUs or we go three-family. I want to make sure that that water stays on that property and doesn't take and meander off into other areas, causing more problems. The people probably aren't even contemplating right now, but I will. I know I do see the infiltration system. I believe you said it covers an extra 100 square feet, roughly. What about the storm drain that's out front? Will you be tying into that at all? And my follow-up on that.
Correct, yeah.
There is a drain, I believe, that goes from Franklin down through the property that discharges somewhere in the rear of that property, and there's a wall a retaining wall. And I saw some notations on that. The contractor will be making, grading and excavation work, maintaining, updating, upgrading. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah. With regards to the drainage and the
drainage
tying in.
and the tying in and
Yeah.
the retaining wall.
And I should have mentioned too, I forgot to mention, presenting everything else, that this petition was the first petition that basically had departmental meetings that Councilor Dillon went to, and a bunch of other department heads. Our engineer, who I think was here, may not be here now, but so the initial application, which was larger by footprint, was already looked at and pretty much approved, and they went through everything, and that was the purpose of it. Just a little backstory, the purpose of the departmental meeting was for every petition, not just this petition, but to make sure that when we go through the special permit process, there wasn't anything that was left, untied, and everything sort of went through smooth, and city council petitions were on the same page with engineering, DPW, so on and so forth. So this went through that rigorous step. And that was all, and I believe there's some correspondence that was submitted with the first application, but, so that was all done and looked at with, again, DPW, engineering, water department, and that was all discussed at the department meeting. But essentially, yes, it is going to, and I'm going to simplify it, but it is going to tie into drainage systems, water. Obviously, the big thing is, and again, probably more when we get to the building, God willing, the building permit step, but water pressure, right? These things have to have a sprinkler, fire suppressant system, because they're now a three-family that's being proposed. So it requires sprinklers, and it requires, obviously, adequate water pressure. So there's a few things that obviously just through the process it has to go through after the special permit. But this was rigorously looked at a departmental meeting with all the department heads.
And in regards to that sprinkler system, there's adequate enough pressure on that street, and I'm assuming the builder would have to run a larger line in order to support the house plus the sprinkler system.
Yeah, so I think what happened, the result of that meeting was essentially, like any other application, we think there's enough pressure, but when you apply, there's going to have to be testing to make sure, and if there's not, then we have to upgrade the system to make sure that we have enough pressure, and if there's not enough pressure, we can't build the structure. So there's always going to be those small things, but the crux of these departmental meetings is to flush out all the big stuff, which was already done. So, but it's a good point. I forgot to mention that.
Okay. And the sewer line, I'm assuming too, that'll have to go through its rigorous steps and, all the matrix and the formulas and so on and so forth. Is there anything in that street that's going to need to be upgraded? Manholes, so on and so forth, structures whatsoever. Did they get into the crux of that?
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm asking is I want to get the full potential of, the mitigation component to this and what potentially could be excavated and re-engineered out in Franklin in order to handle this. Because that's part of the whole process as well as the part of the bill.
Yeah, I agree with that. So I have, and again, I think Councilor Dillon has something different that I did not receive, but I have an email from May that indicates essentially DPW was all set, and I believe engineering had one final look, and at the end they were all set, which would encompass everything you're asking about. But I don't have anything other than that email exchange from the
That's fine,
department
as
head.
long as they're on board and
Yeah.
they gave a blessing to it. Okay, and as for that retaining wall,
The retaining wall, correct. So regarding the retaining wall, we put in our conditions that we couldn't find a permit for it. I know it's old, but we're basically taking it under our wing, and it's in our condition. So
will
we
that
are
be
going to get that.
rebuilt, I'm assuming?
Well, if it needs to be. I think we were basically going to check with an engineer, make sure if it's structurally sound. If it's structurally sound, perfect. If it's not, then we will make it structurally sound, because that's what we're swearing by.
And my point with all of that, again, just so we're clear, is because that just adds to the build cost to this project.
Correct.
And I think people need to be aware of the investment, updating and upgrading, walls, water supplies, sewer, stormwater management, storm drain, so on and so forth. I mean, that's on the builder's tab.
Yep,
So
correct.
I appreciate all that. Thank you.
Council Papalato.
Thank you. When we spoke earlier today, I left the conversation that there was no difference in bedrooms, no difference in bathrooms, they were just being rejigged.
Yep.
And then what I thought I heard from the 10-minute investigation that we had earlier was the bedrooms will remain the same, but the bathrooms increased by 2.
Yes. So for the record, correct. So we analyzed it at that recess. So there are 2 more bathrooms from the first petition, but we're proposing 11 total bathrooms for 3 units.
Okay.
That's correct.
And what's the
Same
impetus
bedroom.
behind doing that? What's the thought there?
Well,
You've got 2,000 square feet less of space.
Correct.
And you added 2 bathrooms, so run me through that a little
yeah,
bit.
so, I mean, again, every developer, every person is going to build something that makes sense for the city, that's going to sell. I mean, that's the end game. We have to sell these things. If these things are sitting and somebody has to rent them because he can't find somebody to buy them, that's a problem, but that is the reality. 2-bedroom condo units, not really attractive in that area and in greater Boston area. So it was weighing basically resale with giving the city something that we feel is a good plan and not being, expanding on the footprint. So obviously we shrunk the footprint, so we wanted to put that 3rd bedroom somewhere. The basement
I'm
was
not questioning the bedroom.
Yeah, okay.
The bedrooms remain, the bedroom count remains the same. What I'm questioning is why 2 additional bathrooms when you shrunk the footprint by 2,000 square feet?
So with the 3rd bedroom being up on the 2nd floor, the idea was that those 2 bedrooms would share a bathroom being in a common hallway. Where you're displacing a bedroom on the 2nd floor, that bedroom now is going to the basement on 2 units. Somebody's not going to go walk up 2 flights of stairs to get to a bathroom on the 2nd floor, so it makes sense to just put them and make it a...
Okay, you've
sort of like
answered
a
my
suite.
question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Councilor Dillon.
Thank you, President Toyle. I have April 2nd, 2026 from Commissioner Quinn, and it's after the department heads meeting that we had on 20 Franklin Street. Engineering was satisfied with groundwater. Fire department had a couple suggestions. Inspectional services had a couple that we pretty much already talked about, and they're probably in the conditions, we can tighten that up, but the one thing, Public Works Department, and again, dated April 2nd, 2026, additional information needed on the site plans regarding water, sewer, gas, and grading on and off the site. I did have a conversation with our city engineer today that is filling in the absence of the DPW superintendent. And he has nothing for the utilities as far as any scope of work or any scope of fulfilling what the obligations for the structure. So that's something that needs to be looked at.
Yeah, and Mr. President, through you, I do not get that, so I have, which is fine. I mean, I'm not concerned about it, but, yeah. But my last email was in May that sounded like DPW was all set, but here nor there. I mean, again, it's not something we're opposing to not do, and I think we'll get there.
Just trying to tighten up if
Yeah.
this, I'll make a motion to make this part of the public record.
What?
It's the document.
It's already.
It already is.
It's not, because it's part of the old public record. But if it
Okay.
has notes on it, your notes are part of the public record.
Make a motion that we receive the April 2nd, 2026 Department Head memo.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Mr. President, can I also request a
Pardon my hand
Forward you
scratch.
that email.
You're gonna have to white out all
I
my.
can forward you that email, Madam Chair. Madam Clerk. Yes.
You can have that. Thank you.
Just a note, I'm going to put the original one on the record from the other petitions file. I'll grab it from the city clerk's office.
All set?
Yep.
Council Mercer Bruin.
Thank you. Attorney Giuliano, you learn fast.
Usually the hard way, my mother says.
I only say that because at the end of the day, you showed us all the things that could be done by right. For as long as I've been doing this, which is a really long time, nobody ever comes to us for anything if they don't have to. So I just want to say, let's just put the cards on the table. You're here because you want to build, your client wants to build this really big thing. They had no interest in building what is allowed in the zoning. They want to upzone. That's why you're here. So I just want to say that for the record. Also, I'd like to say, if for every fire we've had just in my ward in the last 2 years, if we upzoned every single one of those neighborhoods because we had a fire, I don't understand the reason for this other than money, money, money. That's it. That's the only reason I can see for this. I don't see a benefit for this neighborhood because at the end of the day, you'd still have to fix the home, correct? You know how I feel about this. I'm not going to support it. I think it would be in your best interests and your client's best interest to try to talk with the neighborhood again. If those talks have been exhausted, then so be it. But I cannot and will not support it. But thank you for the presentation.
Anyone else on the council before we open the public hearing?
Make a motion to open the public hearing?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to open the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this matter? Please step forward, state your name, address, and speak clearly into the microphone, please.
Good evening. My name is Catherine Shaughnessy. I live at 31 Scott Street in Woburn. This petition should be denied. But through the chair, before I tell you why, through the chair to City Councilor DeMambro, you recused yourself from the previous petition. What has changed from then to now?
It was a personal illness. And I couldn't make 2 meetings.
President Toro?
Yes.
It actually was not a recusal. It was not a recusal. It was an abstention.
Abstention.
Why did you abstain?
I just told you, because I had a medical situation, and I missed 2 meetings.
Ma'am, if you'd like to speak in regards to the petition, please do so.
Well, he was at the meetings.
Please keep it to
He
the
was
petition.
at many of the meetings.
All right, I'm going to ask you to keep
So,
it to
the attorney doesn't have a silver bullet. No way. He didn't want to go to land court because he probably wouldn't win and thought it'd be easier to come right back here to get a second bite of the apple. And he only had to flip 1 vote. And that's what he did. It should be denied because it's not a legal, non-conforming 3-family. And he has no proof that it is. He's got a letter from it wasn't in the 80s, it was 1995, from the building commissioner of Paris. And in that letter, it doesn't say it was a legal 3-family. He says it was used as a 3-family. That doesn't make it a legal 3-family. He's got a letter from the city solicitor. City solicitor said, yeah, he thinks it's a legal 2-family. But then he goes and states in the same letter that he could find no evidence of any permits or minutes of meetings granted by the city council, which is the authority to grant such permits. Couldn't find them because they didn't exist. So he kind of negated his own opinion in that letter he sent you. And as far as Tom Quinn's letter, he doesn't say it's a legal 3-family dwelling. He doesn't say that, as the lawyer presents or purports to say. He doesn't say that. He talks about ADUs and other things. And he doesn't say it because he's the zoning enforcement officer. He doesn't make the code. You people make the code. So it should be denied on that basis. It should be denied because it is way more detrimental to the neighborhood than the first go-around. It doesn't conform at all to the neighborhood. That's in the code, and it should. And finally, to, the gentleman from all over the city, and I think one was from Bedford, who came down to support the petitioner. We all know you're friends and you're nice guys to do it. But my question is, where were you on March 17th when we had the first public hearing? I didn't see you at the next public hearing, and it was continued. The public hearings we had in March, April, May, and now you come down as a favor to a friend, and that's really nice. But I don't think it has any bearing on this proposal. So please deny it.
Please state your name for the record and your address.
Liz Pasek, 16 Franklin Street, Woburn. I kind of want to just tag team off of what Catherine started. The legality of 20 Franklin Street. We've been kicking this around, and last time I could have done better in doing this presentation. As Attorney Giuliani stated, the July 9th reform that went through recently for zoning ordinances and stuff makes the losing a nonconformity for a three-family. It went from 2 years to 4 years. It's documented in the records, yes. It was used as a three-family before the zoning changed. It was used after the zoning changed. There was a break, a significant break in time when it was not used as a three-family. And I would say in the last, since 1986, it has been used as a three-family. So I'm talking about that middle chunk of time where it stopped and it lost its nonconformity. I have the census records, highlighted, tabbed for everybody. 1982, Mary Mantini, one person. She was the owner. She and her husband in the 30s built the house. 1983, one person, Mary Mantini. 1984, Mary Mantini, one family. 1985, Mary Mantini. 1986, Mary Mantini, and she did have a tenant, John Gunning. Okay? That's consecutive years. It's more than the 4, and it's here for everyone to see. So I don't care about tax assessment bills and what's being currently paid for utilities and blah, blah, blah. This is substantial evidence that will hold up in land court. This is very key. And this was not included from my interpretation of the city solicitor's letter that he wrote. That's number 1. Number 2, the Paris letter. Everyone's talking about the Steve Paris letter. Mary Mantini got older. She sold her property, transferred her property to her daughter, Elizabeth McCune, and her other 2 daughters. Elizabeth took the lead. A person came in to buy it, Steve Alford. He was adamant that it was legally made a legal determination that this was a three-family. There were conversations had, nothing behind the scenes, but document it, research it, whatever. This letter clearly states that Steve Paris went in. He had a talk with Mary Mantini's daughter, Elizabeth McCune, and he listened to her. He didn't write anything down. She didn't write anything down. There's no written statement, but said they'd been used and firmly believed that it had been used in the past as a three-family dwelling. He does not say continuously. He doesn't go into elaborating on the condition of the 3 units. He does not issue a certificate of occupancy. What's really important, and this is going to be important in land court, the letter was written February 22nd, 1995. Guess what happened 2 days later? Steve Alford closed his mortgage. You think the land court judge is going to see maybe a little bit of motivation for the seller to give a statement and go through that? I think that's really significant. I don't believe this was a a three-family, uninterrupted. They lost their nonconformity, and you can't get it back. And it's for 5 years. You only need 4. So it's right there. If anybody wants to look at it, have at it. What's really interesting is very recently, I've been following 3 Kearsarge Ave.
I'm sorry, could you say the name again?
I'm sorry,
Could you say the address again?
3 Kearsarge.
Oh, Kearsarge, thank you.
Kearshage.
Yes, thank you.
It was listed as a 3-family, an older 3-family house. And I've been following it, and for the longest time it was pending. Well, guess what? 2 weeks ago I got pulled. The listing got pulled. And guess what? It's back on the market as a 1-family. And I went today to the building commissioner's office, and I pulled the address file, the address jacket, whatever the heck you call that thing. And here's a memo, May 19th, 2026, from Tom Quinn for the file, 3 Kearsarge Avenue, talking about how the current owners, the authorized agent, showed proof of legal occupancy, and he went through, it was tax assessment records, utility bills, water and sewer, all the stuff people like to say, well, they paid that as evidence. He says right here, the owner could not show any certificates of occupancy for the units in question that we discussed on the telephone. And so therefore, he didn't approve it as a 3-family. So right now, it is listed as a 1-family. Okay? That's what the city's doing now. So I don't know how we're still fighting this and going around in circles, but that's pretty strong evidence. The timing of the Steve Paris letter, 2 days before the mortgage closed and the seller got to sell the house, and 5 years interrupted. They lost their nonconformity. It is not a 2-family house. I heard about concrete evidence. I certainly heard a lot of qualifiers in Attorney Salvato's letter. He also mentioned, and I didn't make 11 copies or whatever, there are, I think, 3 building permits in that jacket for 20 Franklin Street that are for 1 family. There's 1 for a 3-family, and actually it was the current owner's brother who did it. So even that goes to support. There's a preponderance of building permits for 1 family compared to the 1, and that's the only one that the city solicitor mentioned. So, I think that there is really, really strong evidence that this is a 2-family. You could go on. You want to go to court and take, affidavits from all the neighbors, the plumber next door, who worked on it. The list just goes on. But that all aside, you can't get around this. The census records are highly regarded by land court, and it's here in black and white and yellow, highlighted it this time, if anybody wants a copy. So, there's that. I also, again, I was in the engineering office because I wanted to follow up. In Tom Quinn's August, help me on the date, it's August 7th or 9th or whatever, he did a memo, and he specifically asked for clarification on the sufficiency, what you were talking about, Mr. DeMambro, about the water pressure. So there was nothing in the jacket. Nobody knew anything. Certainly things are a little bit up in the air with DPW. I was put in touch with engineer Alex, I don't know how to say his name.
Rozicki.
Thank you. And he was helpful. He reviewed his system, his file. He did not know that 20 Franklin Street had been denied in May on the 19th. He did not know it had come up again. And his file showed nothing updated, nothing new. So there was no answer to Tom Quinn's question on the water pressure. He did not know that there had been an increase in bathrooms. And moreover, it's the bathrooms now in the basement units. Historically, this home with the one little teeny weeny bedroom in the basement has had raw sewage coming out of its sink for decades. I have plumbers who tell me, I have had tenants tell us, we've been in our house 39 years. This has been a long-term problem. It's not like somebody flushed something they shouldn't have. This is my husband can get into it, the grade and the whole bit. It is down low. So certainly, this is something DPW needs to be looking at before this special permit is signed off on. I believe. I think it's premature to vote on it tonight.
President Toro?
Yes,
Just want to let you know, DPW and engineering all got the new plans.
thank you.
They've been provided to all the relevant departments.
The other thing I stuck my nose into was rodent control, because I noticed at the end of the agenda tonight, we're talking about rodent control and adding rodents to Title whatever 9 list and taking out the second generation anticoagulant poisoning and all that, which I support. The timing just kind of stinks if you're going to be a homeowner next to a huge, huge construction project. So I have a lot of concerns about that. And when I asked, the Board of Health was kind of looking around. They weren't really sure. So if that ordinance goes through tonight, later on in your meeting,
Ma'am, one quick
May I
second, so
clarify?
Councilor Demers.
It's relative to municipal properties.
I thought it was residential too.
Municipal properties.
Wow, I thought I'd read residential in the agenda.
Thank you, Councilor
Notes.
Demers.
Okay. But if it's a non-issue, so residents can still, I mean, we use the Terminex people, and, there's rats in our neighborhood. I got news for you. They were in, I was going to say that, my thing said residential.
Does it say residential?
It's on the agenda. I don't know what the actual order says.
I can
Look
go,
at,
hold on.
continue on, Ms. Basic. I'll look at the.
So it's a concern if we don't have access to that rodent side. And, if this goes through tonight, I'll just tell you, after the last permit vote, when it didn't go through, several days later, and several is maybe generous, a couple days later, chain link fencing showed up. This is going to happen like that. You say yes. I want to know what's going to happen with the whole rodent plan, because the building commissioner didn't have one. They were talking to Board of Health for me. They didn't know anything about, the limitations on the bait that can be used and whatever. I want to see a rodent control plan. This house was infested inside, in the walls. It's been empty for a while, but guess what? The neighborhood has rodents. We're an old neighborhood with all these restaurants off the center. So that's a really big, I want to see that before.
Ms. Basic, as part of the building permit requirement,
So I asked for the
petitioner
details.
will require,
Yeah,
petitioner will be required to submit a rodent control plan as part
right.
of this permit.
So I was asking for exactly what it was, especially in light of the potential changes in the bait that can be used. And then what's the recourse? I was reading all the language about how it goes on about, you might be able to use the original bait if there is a substantial problem, documenting that. We're already baiting. We've already taken in our bird feeders. We've already done all this mitigation. How far down the line do we have to get? Do we have to have them in the house before we get relief? I don't know. So, I kind of covered a lot. If anybody wants a copy of these, I made them.
Make a motion to accept those as part of the permanent record.
Second.
A motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, so there's
Madam Clerk needs a second.
1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is it 9 and plus 1? Yep. So I really, truly hope.
One second, just wait till Madam Clerk sits down.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Thank you. Process.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Go ahead.
Okay, so the other thing is, I was hearing, you listening to the retaining wall, the lower retaining wall, that it was old, out of date, and might come down and evaluate whatever. I haven't seen the latest update on the list of conditions that wasn't sent through, and I didn't find it anywhere. And I would like a copy of that, but that part of the wall has to be rebuilt with some kind of retaining structure, or we will lose our retaining wall. You have to understand, we spent $5,000 all those years ago, and we had no money because we were losing our big retaining wall. There was a backwash. And, to think you're just going to plow it over and make a nice little hill and blah, 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 you will ruin our retaining wall. So that is a concern. And I think I've covered all the bases. I appreciate your time listening. And I really, it's our neighborhood. This is not, it's beautiful, but it's not the Vale. We aren't that, you've heard all these wonderful people around Woburn. Woburn, I think one of the things that makes it so special is the neighborhoods. And, I appreciate Jeff Stillin's backing with all this and everyone. This just does not fit in. We would love a duplex. We really would. Another family to come in. And, the irony is literally the house, 2 houses across the street, the house next to us, they've all sold. They've moved out after this fire and all this stuff going on with the townhouse and stuff. It's really been a sad turnover. We've lost a lot of people. They've been long-term. Certainly there have been lots of reasons, but none of them said, oh yeah, I want to stick around for this. They're just kind of really sad. And on that note, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks, Liz.
Thank you.
Would anyone else in the audience like to speak on this matter? Please step forward.
Michael Pasek, 16 Franklin Street, Woburn. I have some documents I'd like to share with the council, if I may.
What are the documents? So I know.
Current map and a presentation that I didn't get to load on my computer.
Thank you.
Same action.
Do we have a motion to
Second.
accept? Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Oh, extras, good. Okay, so in front of you, you have 2 documents. We all set, Madam Clerk?
I am. Thank you for asking.
Yep, no problem. We have 2 documents. One is a map of the Hammond Street, Franklin Street area from 1875. The only house not on this map that's in the neighborhood now is mine, because it was built in 1875, and this map was commissioned just before that. So 14 Franklin Street is not shown on this map, but if you look at the intersection where Johnson Street intersects Franklin Street, that's basically Brian's house, and then across is Rick's house, and our house, and then 20 Franklin Street, and on the other, so this is our neighborhood, okay? And following up on what Catherine said, I think it's great. Everything we've heard about the developer, Kevin seems to be a really nice guy. I've seen his gifts to charities. He's a really nice guy. Obviously has some really good friends, to come and stand beside him. They haven't stood beside us on Hammond Square during the Halloween parade, though. I haven't seen them there. This is one of the neighborhoods that makes up Woburn, right? So if we look at the neighborhood, the issue with this application is that we're looking at the non-conforming use and structure. And this proposal should be for an R2 building, but we'll get there. And it shall not be substantially more detrimental than the existing non-conforming use to the neighborhood. Factors that expressly include traffic volumes and congestion, municipal water sewer capacity, noise, odor, scale, character, and visual effects. I'm somewhat of a history buff besides being an engineer, and one of the things that current city council and current DPW may not be aware of, I'm sure workers in the DPW are very aware of, is that Franklin Street was one of the premier streets in Woburn in the late 1800s. It was one of the first streets, if not the first street, to get sewer in 1894. The sewer line has never been upgraded since 1894. Okay? So there's that to think about. Another 11 bathrooms. What could go wrong? We also need to consider scale, character, and visual effects. You all know that already. You go to the next page. Traffic volumes and congestion. Franklin Street is no parking both sides. A three-family, and we thank Councilor Ferrillo for that help when he was in his previous capacity in Woburn for making sure Franklin Street was no parking both sides. Three-family with more proposed bedrooms than proposed in May will create more parking issues and congestions. We have established that the bedrooms are the same, but I think it lends itself more to a boarding house kind of setup. We want to make sure that we want to guard against that. The scale of this house, this building, again, is 78 foot wide, fronting on Franklin Street, with 3 curb cutouts for 3 driveways. None of the details like that exist anywhere on Franklin Street, Center Street, Flag Street, Scott Street. There isn't a structure like that in any of this area. We want to guard against that. The character and visual effects aspects of this. The Massachusetts Cultural and Resource Information System, operated by the Massachusetts Historical Commission, has cataloged 11 houses on Franklin Street alone, just on Franklin Street. I didn't go into the other streets. And there are many more in the Hammond Street Square neighborhood. And I just wanted to share with you six buildings that are and closest to the proposed 20 Franklin Street building that are on that Massachusetts Cultural Resource and Information Database because of their architectural significance. Start with the easy one, 14. I didn't take these pictures, by the way. These pictures are from the state database of cataloged for their historical significance. 1416 Franklin Street, that's our house. 12 Franklin Street. This was the P.E. Bancroft house. P.E. Bancroft on Center Street, he had his factory that made men's and boys' slippers. This is where he lived. That's Brian Wilson, Brian Conchita's house now. Directly across the street from us, 1719 Franklin Street, built in 1840. That was the farmhouse when the Gage farmland was still 14, 16, and 20 Franklin Street were originally Gage property, going back then. 21 Franklin Street. This just recently sold, but also Greek Revival. At the bottom of each notation, you see WOB and a number. That's the catalog number that the state has given it as a historical catalog. We move on. 22, hold on a second. 22 Franklin Street, which is a gorgeous house. This house just sold. My wife was alluding to. This was a 2-family that just sold. It's a gorgeous house. Built in 1880. And then 25 Franklin Street. That just sold. Billy and Mo. Jeff, you know Billy and Mo?
Yeah.
They just sold their house. They're staring at what was across the street and what was proposed to come. They just decided to pull the plug. So that's 25 Franklin Street. And then we're going to put this 3 townhouse property on Franklin Street. It does not go with the character. It does not fit. A nice duplex, you can make it a huge duplex. Make it whatever is allowed by right. Not that needs a special permit. Build a duplex. Fine. So, I don't want to get all agita more than we already are. The proposed building is obviously more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing structure is. That, if you have eyes, it's more detrimental to the neighborhood, right? It's going to cause parking and congestion problems like you can't believe. And the scale is totally out of proportion to the other buildings in the neighborhood. There isn't another building in the neighborhood. Again, Flag Street, Scott Street, Center Street, Franklin Street, Johnson Street. There's not another building in the neighborhood that comes close to this size, you know? So, as can be seen, and as I say, the scale, character, and visual effects of the proposed building does not reflect any of the details in the current neighborhoods. For that matter alone, this petition should be denied, because that's the way the rules are written. That's the way the code is written. This is an R2. The words at the beginning, you know, of 15, excuse me, Section 7.3, non-conforming uses and structures. This was written by the city of Woburn. It has meaning. The words have meaning, right? It shall not be substantially more detrimental. This building is substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood. I've listed the different ways. To ignore these words, to ignore the zoning code that says this is an R2, doesn't make any sense to us. Doesn't make any sense to me. Do we need more housing? Yes. That's why we have a building code. That's why we have a master plan. And we're going to be revising the master plan. If Maura Healy wants to make everybody have 55 houses per 5,000 square foot lot, okay, let's deal with it when it happens. But until then, let's deal with what we have in front of us. We have an R2 zone, proposed R3 building. It doesn't make sense. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Michael.
Anybody else in the audience like to speak on this matter, please step forward. I can.
Ken Polly, Marion Street, 5 Marion Street. I know we have the byproduct of section 762, where you're subject to special permit, right, to if a home has been built, and I've expressed that I don't think we should be in the business of denying people or removing their rights because they had a hardship, right, of a fire to your building, right? I think that's poor policy to begin with. And then we go, it's in my opinion that Attorney Giuliano clearly provided that this was a pre-existing use. And if we look at section 7.3, it says substantially detrimental. I am at awe how we do not find this substantially beneficial to the city of Woburn. New curbs, new sidewalks, beautiful home, under 2,000 square foot housing, garages, get the cars off the street. This is a beautiful product. I would love to build something like this, but I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole because I just wouldn't want to be subject to this body. So I wish you all the best of luck. I appreciate you. I'm going to take off and kiss my babies. Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Ken.
you.
Hi, Kenny.
Would anybody else in the audience like to speak on this matter, please step forward. Reminder to state your name and address for the record.
Michael Dampolo, 60 Olympia Avenue, Woburn. I am the former Woburn Business Association president. Okay, Mr. Childs, who has applied for this permit, has also been a business owner in this city. And what concerns me the most is that he's bringing a good product, a positive product here to this city, positive housing for families, not rentals, for families here. We want families in this city. We want people to flourish with their children. We want more kids for our football teams, for our schools. That's what we pay taxes for. And this is a good tax advantage for the city. We have 3 houses here that can go on that lot, and it needs to be approved. And the nays should say yay. I'm concerned about this. As a business owner, I've been here since 1992. And I remember coming here and hiring Joe Tarby, and it took us 6 months to get an occupancy permit for an industrial building that I've been in since 1992. And I've paid my fair share of taxes here. And my excise taxes on the buses that cost me $500,000 when I buy them. Okay? So it concerns me as a taxpayer, as a former president of the Woburn Business Association, that this body is doing what they're doing. And it needs to end. I understand your concerns, but we need to improve this city. And it has been improving, but we don't need an Avalon anymore. We need to replace it with small units as these are, for people who can come in and raise their children in this tremendous community, which it is, which we've all worked towards to make it a tremendous community. So thank you for your time, honorable councilman.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Would anyone else in the audience like to speak on this matter? Please step forward. Seeing no one? Oh, we have another member of the audience.
Sorry about that. Good evening, President Toro, Madam Clerk, and esteemed members of the council. For the record, my name is Paul Solano, 16 Garden Street in Medford.
Sir, can you speak a little louder into
Sure
the
thing.
microphone? Thank you.
For the record, my name is Paul Solano of 16 Garden Street, number 1R in Medford, Mass. And thank you for the time and opportunity to speak favorably on behalf of this petition. I am happy to stand in front of you as a proponent of this new petition. Mr. Charles recently told me about this very exciting project in the city of Woburn. As a former member of the Malden Planning Board in the 1990s, I used to vote on many issues like the one before you this evening. I have taken extra interest to look at the facts and zoning issues that have been presented during the review process and in this petition in front of you this evening. Thank you for giving Mr. Childs, a very trustworthy and responsible developer, a chance to invest in this great community. This project will fit into the neighborhood. My wife and I may even decide to purchase one of these beautiful townhouses. And in my humble opinion, Mr. Childs' desire to agree to work with the neighborhood and city government to create a win-win situation fits into his character that I have known for the past 25 years. Thank you again for this time for me to provide this testimony on this petition. Respectfully submitted, Paul Solano.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to speak on this matter? Please step forward.
My name is David DeAndres from 6 Strawberry Lane. I've been a plumber since 1986, and adding bathrooms to a building is just a matter of luxury. I don't think it's not going to take pressure away from the neighborhood. It's the same amount of people using water. They have to walk less steps to get to the bathroom. I know because I have bathrooms all over my house. And looking at the two structures, the two-family with the ADU, like an investment point, like if somebody were to buy that, they would have to rent it out. And from past experience, years ago, I had a 6-family rental across the street from my house that I owned, and it was chaos going on. And then, thank God, finally, some developer came and bought it and made 4 luxury condos and sold them. And the people that bought them are lovely. Like, you don't hear a peep over there. There's no trash on the street. That they got flower beds. The lawn's taken care of, and it's just a different environment. More of a community with owners than what renters. That's all. I'd like the townhouse idea. It might make the city look a lot better.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Would anybody else in the audience like to speak on this matter? Please step forward. Mr. Casey.
Hi, John Casey, 11 Garden Terrace. Look at what the developer's doing here with 3 townhouses here as opposed to rentals or anything else. I think it's a real responsible project. I think that the units are well sized. I don't think there's going to be a lot of traffic. I don't think really a lot of anything at all that would be detrimental to the neighborhood. So I think looking at it overall, I think it's a good project. It's 19,000 square feet. I think it's going on for the 3 units, and I think they got plenty of land and everything else. But anyway, I am definitely a proponent of the project, and thank you for hearing me out.
Thank you, John.
John.
Anyone else in the audience that would like to speak in this matter, please step forward. Seeing no one.
I'll make a motion. Oh,
I'm sorry.
Council Mercer Brown.
Yeah, I just wanted to point something out, which people may or may not care about. Regardless of the fact that they're condos and they're going to be sold, the people who buy those condos have every right to rent them and could rent them. So I just wanted to make that point.
Thank you. Councilor Demers, were you going to make a motion?
Make a motion to continue the public hearing to the meeting of September 15th and refer the matter to special permit.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Attorney Giuliano, thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Attorney.
Next item on the agenda under public hearings is to determine whether the property located at 46 Richard Circle is a nuisance. So the term is used in Mass General Law, Chapter 139, Section 1. This petition was brought by Council Mercer Bruin.
I could give it one quick second. Councilor Mercer Bruin.
Thank you, President Toro. So tonight we're here to talk about a property on Richard Circle in my own neighborhood. The neighbors have collectively, many of them, reached out to me about some concerns. The property burned approximately two years and some months ago, and could use some cleaning up. But at the end of the day, I also, when we're having these conversations this evening, we're going to hear from the property owners and we're going to hear from the neighborhood. I do believe that there's a solution moving forward in perhaps getting the property more cleaned up. The lawn was recently mowed. It made a huge difference, but there's still some structural damage that maybe could be taken care of. But at the end of the day, I understand the hardship that comes when you have a fire. It's been over 2 years. Some of you might recall Winstead Ave recently. That property burned a year ago. And, you know, there's a similar situation. The neighbors had to look at the property for quite some time. And there is a point where we have to say, what's the next step? I'm hoping that's what we can find out tonight, but I'd also like to hear from the neighbors on what some of their concerns are. So I hope I wasn't too long-winded. I know it's been a long night.
Any other?
Make a motion, open the public hearing.
A motion and a second, open the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there anyone in the public that would like to speak on this matter? Please step forward.
I think you should.
You said you have the petition,
The owner is
homeowner?
here. Yep, the homeowner is here, and there are some neighbors, not many left, but
So, you could please state your name, sir, for the record and your address. That would be fantastic.
Adam Peabody, 48 Richard Circle. I live right next door, and I was awoken by the abutting neighbor on the other side on the morning of the fire, and that's when we all realized that there was going to be a problem. The house had been unoccupied. I am reluctant to use the word abandoned because I know that it was being, there was an attempt at upkeep for quite some time, and I respect that process. But since the fire, there has been essentially only wreckage. Yes, there has been the occasional visit to mow the lawn, and I respect that from a outside observer point of view. But my own backyard looks directly over the fence into what now I consider to be an abandoned pool, which has grown cat o' nine tails, which
if you see that kind of flora, you know that's a significant amount of time where that thing's been neglected. So I have taken it upon myself to toss in mosquito larva killing dunks into that standing water. We've also had multiple coyotes on that property, multiple foxes. We have all kinds of wildlife. I know that I have seen rats because my own dog has killed them. So it's out of respect for the family, because I do try to be a neighbor with a positive attitude and a positive influence. I really feel that at this point we need answers and a timeline so that we can answer the questions that other people are asking me. I would say not a month goes by when contractors or salespeople or, for example, our former mailman didn't even know that the house didn't have an occupant until I told the mailman, and he'd been having to get out of the vehicle and walk to the front door, which was meaningless. So it's one of those things where we've looked at over this amount of time, there's got to be some kind of a statute of limitations that's run out. We need answers. We would appreciate answers. I don't think anybody in the neighborhood wants bad blood because it's a very, very welcoming, caring neighborhood. But at this point, we'd like some concept of a timeline and how to look at the problem and move forward.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the audience would like to speak on this matter, please step forward. Councilor Mercer. No. Sir, please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, councilors. My name is Michael Bergen. I live at 44 Richard Circle, right next door to the structure in common. So we've lived in the house for 20 years. Richard Circle is a fantastic neighborhood, little circle that has 50 or so houses on it. And we love the neighborhood. And so we obviously, like anybody else, feel sad that, there's a loss through a fire. I think that's obvious for any neighbor. No one wants to see that. And I'm not really here to talk about the what's happened to the house. Obviously, it's been years. But overall, I'd like to retire at some point, and I'd like to move at some point soon. And as two realtor friends have told me, is just the fact is, you can Google it if you want, the fact is it would reduce, being next to a house like that, would reduce my total revenue by 10%. So that would be $90,000 out of my pocket. And as a elderly person who lives on Social Security only, that would be very difficult for me. And so I'd love to see them, be able to, I'm not sure what their plans are, whether to rebuild or sell. I'm not really sure, but we would love to see something positive come out for the whole neighborhood. And I think the whole neighborhood feels kind of the same way. And I don't, it's just, it's not, no one wants to live next door to that for the most part. And so nothing against any of the people that have lived there in the past. We know they're original owners to the neighborhood, which goes back to 1955. All the owners were there pretty much at the same time. I bought my house from an original owner, just like the people just right all around me. And we'd love to see it more beautified in some form or fashion, but just something positive just has to happen at this point in time. And I just don't think mowing the lawn is going to really cut it at this point, because everyone really knows what the facts are, and looking at the backyard, and it's just, again, we just need to move forward with something positive. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you for waiting.
Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to speak on this matter? Please step forward.
Thank you, councilors. Anthony Fiorello, 21 Chester Ave. I'm co-owner with my sister of 46 Richard Circle. We would love to tear it down and rebuild. We have a problem. It's in the court's hands. It's been in the court's hands since the last year or two. The reason they're not paying is we haven't paid. We haven't received a dime from the insurance company. The house is in mine and my sister's name in a trust. Well, we weren't told when we made the trust. We had the insurance still in my mother's name. Well, the insurance company doesn't pay dead people. We would love to. I talked to my attorney last week. It's in the court's hands. We're waiting for a court date. You know how things are since COVID. Try to get a court date. I'm there every other week. I mow. I don't have a tree in the yard, but I'm always trimming the neighbor's bushes that overhang my yard. We don't have any trees in the yard. I'm sorry, I do have one. The pool, I don't know what to do about. I mean, we're paying taxes on the house. I go there, I plow in the winter, I shovel the walkway. Like I say, every couple of weeks I'm there, you know, tending to the yard. It doesn't look bad. I've talked with Mr. Quinn. I've met his standards as far as I know. I mean, I don't know what more to do. We can't touch it. We were told not to take anything out of the house or do any repairs to the house. I have the traps over there for the rats. I go over and occasionally I fill them with the rat poison in there. But I don't know what more to say. You know, we'd love to build. I'd love to build what's on 63 Richard Circle. The Patel's over there. I'm not that color, but I'd love to build that home over there. We're ready to go, but like I say, it's in the court's hands. I don't know what to do. That's all I'm going to say. Sorry.
Councilor Mercer-Bruin?
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Anthony. Thank you for coming down. Anthony, I just have a couple questions. So first of all, for those of you that don't know, I grew up on Richard Circle too. So did you.
I've been there since 1960. We own that house, right?
I'm big fan of your mom's and the whole nine, right? But at the end of the day, Anthony, as I explained, the neighbors have concerns. You only heard from one tonight. I heard from many who some of them were sitting here, but because we went on so long, I see why they left. But at the end of the day, we still need to make some improvements over there. And we talked about another nuisance property that we brought forward not too long ago in East Woburn. What we asked of that person, I'm going to ask of you. If you are being held up by the insurance company, I'd like to make a motion that you provide this council with a copy of the documents that are holding you up, so we can put them on file. And then I know that's in the form of a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Also, I have spoken with Commissioner Quinn. He understands the concerns, my concerns. He also understands, I spoke to him as recently as 5 o'clock this evening. So what he told me is that he is going to reach out to you when he's back in town. He actually took my call while I was on vacation. He's going to reach out to you to go over and walk the property and then come up with a list of things that potentially will need to be done.
That's not a problem.
Yeah. So that's by way of an update for the council, and I already told you that anyway. So thank you, everyone.
But I would love to rebuild. Like I say, there's nothing we can do. I can't even take. We've lost a lot of valuables in that house, a lot of sentimental stuff, and we can't even touch anything in there. I was in there a couple of weeks ago. They told me not to go in. I went in, and definitely it's trashed. I don't think it's ever rebuildable. Maybe I put a 3-family.
Yeah, good luck with that.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
So Anthony, the procedure is if you could provide those documents to City Council, City Clerk
I'll get hold of
Higgins.
my attorney, and I'll get all
Yeah.
the documents.
Thank you very much.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Anthony.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to speak on this matter? Please step forward.
Good evening, everybody. Carlos Ruiz from 36 Richard Circle in Woburn. I just want to say, nice to meet you. I've never actually met you before. I've lived here on Richard Circle for now 7 years. This is my first time meeting him on that property. I've always, since I've lived there, considered that property to almost, to use the word, abandoned. I've never really seen any sort of upkeep to that property. And then, of course, now over 2 years ago, where the fire occurred, you know, there's been some effort, which I can appreciate.
Sir, just address the council, please.
There's been some effort, which I can appreciate, in trying to, you know, upkeep the property, such as mowing the lawn, but it's posing a hazard, and it's a safety, and it's Richard Circle. Our neighborhood is comprised of easily over 15 kids. You know, kids are roaming the neighborhood, riding their bikes. I mean, we've seen dead rats on the street. There's, as noted before, there's been coyotes we've seen, fox, just wildlife, obviously, that I think we can all agree on. So, you know, for me, I'm really, and I think for our neighborhood, we can understand and empathize with the whole situation of what occurred. I think we're just looking for now, what are the next steps, as mentioned, kind of a time frame as what's going to happen next, because, you know, I think it's just that we need an answer at this point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else in the audience who would like to speak on this matter? Please step forward.
Sorry, we don't have a color printer, but here is a photo of the house. If the councilors wanted, I don't know if we got enough copies or not.
Make a motion to accept. I'm also going to pass around a very recent photo that was taken
Okay.
today.
Yeah, this was taken last week, this photo. Do you want these?
Oh, yeah, I made a motion to accept.
Second.
Second, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Oh, look at this.
Yeah, you can pass it. Yeah, sure. That's fine. And it doesn't really,
Take 5 minutes, we'll be here till midnight.
just don't text any of your friends on it, please.
I'll use your credit card, just your Venmo.
We'll share over here, we're very nice.
So, yes, thank you. So I'd like to, one thing we neglected to do, or I neglected to do, so my apologies, to put a time frame on this. So I'd like to, I know the petitioner or the homeowner is going to meet with Inspector Quinn on Tuesday. I'd like to send a communication to Inspector Quinn asking him to provide us with a list of the improvements that are going to be made. And I ask that those improvements take place at least in the next 30 days.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to speak on this matter? Seeing no one.
Thank you.
Through the president to Councilor Bruin, when do you want this set up for the next October 6th?
October 6th.
Make a motion that we continue the nuisance hearing until October 6th.
Second.
Motion and a second to continue the hearing till October 6th. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And through the
Thank you.
chair to Council Demers, it is my hope that things have improved significantly by then. If that's the case, if it's timely, we can cancel the public hearing.
Thank you.
Next item on agenda is petition to determine whether the property located at 33 Green Street is a nuisance as used in term is used in Mass General Law, Chapter 139, Section 1.
Thanks, Tony.
Huh? Oh.
Okay.
Not on the extended agenda, there was a communication dated August 18th from Daniel Clark, 6 Oxford Place. Further, there was a communication dated August 18th from Andrea Bernard, 34 Green Street, that you were provided. I just want to let everybody know that the clerk's office sent a certified notice to the property owner, and it came back as not deliverable to the address of record, and we sent a follow-up email to the email that was provided by us by Councilor Papalato, and we have had no response.
I'll make a motion, we receive these documents and that notification as part of the permanent review.
Second. Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Council Papalato?
Thank you. So I've been contacted by several neighbors over the course of the last few months. This is on 33 Green Street. I'd like to provide a summary of some of the activities regarding the site prior to anybody speaking from a public hearing standpoint, just to kind of ground everybody in where we are. It won't be a long period, but the matter's been ongoing for approximately 9 months. The original complaint was received on December 4th last year regarding overgrown landscaping, raccoon activity, and concerns about the overall condition of the property. Since the initial complaint, the city has made repeated efforts to work with the homeowner to address these conditions. Notices and communications have been sent, and the homeowner, has been given plenty of notice on this. Despite repeated promises and assurances that the property would be addressed by the homeowner, there has been no meaningful action or progress by the homeowner. The city has devoted considerable staff time and resources attempting to resolve the matter. Unfortunately, after 9 months, the conditions remain substantially unresolved. Notice of the public hearing was sent to the homeowner by the city clerk on August 10th. There's been no response. At this point, the city has made every reasonable effort to obtain voluntary compliance. The homeowner has had ample opportunity to correct the conditions and has failed to do so. The continued condition of this property is unacceptable and negatively affects the surrounding neighborhood. I'd like to request that the letters submitted by the neighbors be read by the city clerk.
Second. Is that a motion?
You want me to read you want me to read?
Yeah, they asked if these could be read in the meeting because they weren't able to attend.
Motion necessary.
From Daniel Clark, 6 Oxford Place. Dear Madam Clerk and members of the City Council, my name is Daniel Clark. I live at 6 Oxford Place, directly behind the property at 33 Green Street. I am unable to attend the hearing on August 18th because I'm out of town caring for my mother, and I respectfully ask that this letter be read into the record in my place. For years, the yard at 33 Green Street has been overrun with weeds and animals, and the fencing along the property lines have been falling down. The conditions grew steadily worse, and I eventually had to install my own fence at my own expense. Even with the fence in place, weeds from 33 Green Street push through onto my side and grow up into trees I recently planted. I've also personally seen raccoons coming out of a third-floor window of the house. That window has stood open for more than 5 years, allowing rain, water, and snow to enter the building. Open window at that height with animals living inside is not just an eyesore. It points to an unsecured, deteriorating structure directly abutting my family's home. I'm attaching photographs for the council's review, which document the weed growth over the fence line and the condition of the property. I understand from Council Papalato's updates that the owner, Mr. Pike, agreed in July to clean up the yard, secure the house against the animals. As of this date of this letter, I have seen no meaningful progress, any of those commitments. I am not asking for anyone to be treated harshly. I recognize the owner may be dealing with difficulties of his own, but the condition of this property has become a genuine health, safety, and property value concern for the neighbors who live around it, and the voluntary approach has not worked. I respectfully ask council to take a formal action requiring that the yard be cleared, the fence repaired or removed, and the house secured with a firm deadline and follow-up inspection. Thank you for your time in allowing my letter to be read in the hearing. There are also several pictures. From Andrea Bernard of 34 Green Street. Dear Ms. Higgins, this is a statement from the hearing that will take place this evening regarding 33 Green Street. I want to start by saying that I have a lot of compassion for Mr. Pike, as he has been my neighbor for quite a number of years, and I'm sure he is probably overwhelmed by the issues on the property. I've wondered about his welfare, and I hope he's okay. However, the house at 33 Green Street has been condemned for over a year. The yard is completely overgrown. The garage is hidden by ivy and greenery so that one would never know it is there. It has become increasingly difficult to walk along the sidewalk in front of the property due to overgrowth. Ivy has now started to grow up the side of the house. I've seen rats running around the neighborhood, including in front of my house, which is a recent phenomenon. In the spring, when I was walking my dog on the south end of Mount Pleasant Street prior to the leaves on the trees, prior to losing the trees. I had happened to look up at the back of the house and notice an attic window wide open without a screen. I've since learned from a neighbor on Mount Pleasant Street that she has seen a family of raccoons going in and out of the attic through that window. Based on these observations and risk of rodent infestation, I feel the house is a public health hazard. In addition, the property values of all of surrounding homes are at risk of decreasing because of the condition of the house. I wish Mr. Pike well and hope he can see his way to fix the issues, but something needs to be done ASAP, whether it's by Mr. Pike himself or the city. It's been a mess for over a year and only getting worse by the day. Thank you for the opportunity to submit a statement on this important matter. Respectfully, Andrea M. Bernard.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And with that, I'd like to make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second. Second.
Motion and a second to open the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there anyone here in the audience that would like to speak on this matter? Please step forward.
What's that?
Is the owner of 33 Green Street in the audience tonight?
Apparently, we lost a few here over the course of the night here. I
Just-
apologize for that.
Just to document the record, President Toro, there, you don't see the owner, no one has come up.
Owner of 33 Green Street has not stood up.
Thank you.
So,
Order for the public hearing, do we have?
okay, so I would like to make a motion that communication be forwarded to the department heads requesting the following information. The Assessors Department confirming the mailing address on file for the property owner. The Treasurer and Collector's Office requesting whether there are any taxes owed to the City of Woburn by the property owner. The Building Commissioner and the Health Department requesting a report of any outstanding issues with respect to the property. And the Police Department requesting a report of any issues that have been documented on this, for that property.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
Second. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
To provide the homeowner with additional opportunities to address these issues. And I have been in contact with him. I've spoken to him several times. I've exchanged emails, as well as Tom Quinn has done the same. So there's on-again, off-again communication. And I think that's the frustrating part, because when we speak to him, he wants to fix it. He wants to get the issues addressed. And then we hit dead air and we don't hear anything for weeks. So that's why it's been a 9-month process. So to provide him with additional opportunity to address these issues, I'd like to make a motion to continue the matter until our next meeting on September 15th.
Go ahead. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
On the motion, Clerk Higgins, is generally speaking, do we like to do 2 meetings for notice purposes, or are you?
So the notice didn't get to him the first time, so I don't know how you want to handle that. That's why I asked, that's why one of the motions was to ask the assessing department to confirm, which we already confirmed before we sent out the first notice. So that's completely up to you. I don't know.
Council Papalato, should we push it to the meeting in October to allow your Okay. I will take back my question. So you'd like to continue the public hearing to the meeting in September?
On the 15th, correct.
So we have a motion and a second to continue the public hearing to September 15th. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next item on the agenda is the committee reports. On the Committee on Finance, on the order that the amount of $100,000 be appropriated from downtown parking account number to Magazine Hill parking lot. The committee report received ought to pass.
Make a motion the committee report be adopted.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
On the ordinance, charter, and rules, on the order amending the Woburn Municipal Code, Section 3-3B regarding the department submission and report, budget submissions, a committee report was received ought to pass. Sorry.
Motion that the committee report be adopted.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
On the order amending Woburn Municipal Code, Section 9-18C to increase fines for littering, a committee report was received ought to pass.
Make a motion the committee report be adopted.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
On the Committee on Personnel, on the reappointment of Jan H. Fuller to the Woburn Commission on Disability, committee report received, ought to pass.
Make a motion the committee report be adopted.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Reappointment of John Wetzel to the Woburn Commission on Disability, a committee report received, ought to pass.
Same action.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
The reappointment of Paul A. Scanlon Jr. to the Woburn Commission on Disability was received, ought to pass.
Same action.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
On the reappointment of Catherine Hahn to the Woburn Commission on Disability, a committee report received, ought to pass.
Same action.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Carries.
On the reappointment of Amanda Harvey to the Woburn Planning Board, a committee report received, ought to pass.
Make a motion the committee report be adopted.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
On the reappointment of Ann G. Chatfield to the Woburn Board of Appeals, a committee report received, ought to pass.
Make a motion the committee report be adopted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
On the reappointment of Sakis Chinian to the Woburn Board of Registrar of Voters, the committee report received, ought to pass.
Second.
Make a motion the committee report be adopted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next item on the agenda under appointments and elections, appointment of John Sampson to the Board of Trustees of the Woburn.
Make a
Board of
motion on the matter be referred to the committee on personnel.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
On the appointment of Janice Mosco to the Woburn Council on Aging.
Same action.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
On the appointment of John Petrolavage, I'm so sorry, to the Woburn Council on Aging, yes, to the Woburn Council on Aging.
Make a motion the matter be referred to the committee on personnel.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
For the reappointment of Angela Amato to the Woburn Council on Aging.
Make a motion the matter be referred to the committee on personnel.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
On the reappointment of Ann Chavez to the Woburn Council on Aging.
Make a motion the matter is referred to the committee on personnel.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next item on the agenda is the order amending the Woburn Municipal Code to add a new Article 3 rodents to Title 6, Section 6-21 and 6-22.
Council Viola?
Thank you. Madam Clerk, just a quick point of housekeeping. There is a typographical error on the fifth paragraph. It says I 00%. That should be 100%. That's the fifth paragraph.
Fifth
It says
whereas.
Whereas,
Yep. End of the second sentence. It says found that, and it should say 100%.
oh, so that, yeah, that was a copying error from whatever I was given.
Okay.
So the I,
That should
you'll
be
have
it.
to make that, that's how I was given.
Okay,
You'll have to make that motion probably at the committee.
that's fine.
We'll amend it in committee.
Yeah. I'll confirm. If it's a typo, I can just fix it. I'll confirm.
Yep, and I'd just also like to mention that there's members of Operation Woburn Wildlife that are here this evening with us, and thank them for their support, and for especially Jim Joyce for all his hard work in getting this to this point right now, so thank you.
Thank you. I will be making sure, Mr. President, to inform them of our committee meeting, if they would wish to share any wisdom with us about what we've learned. And I want to also thank Mr. Joyce and Ms. Joyce for all their advocacy in these efforts and getting this in front of me. It was an easy job working with them, so looking forward to our committee meeting.
I certainly second that.
So on that note, I'll make a motion that the matter be referred to the Committee on Ordinance, Charter, and Rules.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Next item on the agenda is the order amending Woburn Municipal Code to add Article 18 Zoning Ordinance Review Committee, Sections 2-258 et sequence.
Make a motion that the matter is referred to the Committee on Ordinance, Charter, and Rules.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.